Mastering Gratitude by Sincerely Grateful. Chapter 1. The Gratitude Dopamine Connection. The human brain, a marvel of intricate complexity, is always responding, moment to moment. It listens, it learns, it rewires itself based on what you give your attention to. And as you begin to wonder how that applies to your life now, you may notice something interesting about the way thoughts, feelings, and behavior are constantly shaped, not by what's outside you, but by what you repeatedly feel on the inside. At the center of this unfolding experience is a dynamic symphony of neurotransmitters, chemical messengers dancing across synapses, translating meaning into sensation. One in particular has a curious role to play in your story. You've likely heard its name before: dopamine. It's often paired with ideas like pleasure, motivation, reward. But what if I told you dopamine is doing something far more personal, something that may already be shaping how you learn, how you behave, and even how deeply you feel, right now? And what if the simple act of feeling grateful set off a chain reaction in that system, one that opens a door you didn't even know was there? Imagine this: you're handed an unexpected gift, not the kind wrapped in paper, but one wrapped in thoughtfulness, a warm gesture of care. It lands softly in your awareness. Something stirs. That warm, expansive feeling. It seems to grow inside you. And while you might think it's just a nice moment, your brain is already orchestrating something much deeper. Because what's happening isn't just emotional, it's neurological. A biochemical wave has begun, and something in you recognizes this as more than coincidence. Neuroimaging has pulled back the curtain. Functional MRIs reveal that when you feel gratitude, specific areas of the brain begin to light up. The ventral tegmental area, for instance, deep in the reward system, begins firing, sending a dopamine surge to the nucleus accumbens, that very region linked with joy and satisfaction. But that's only what's visible. What's invisible is how this dopamine wave rewires your perception of what's possible. You're not just feeling good, you're being neurologically rewarded for doing so. And this alone may lead you to ask, if gratitude is this powerful, what else might it be unlocking? Here's where things become even more fascinating. The medial prefrontal cortex, tied to reflection, meaning-making, and emotional regulation, also lights up. And what that tells us is that gratitude is more than a passing mood. It's a higher-order function. It literally invites you to see the good, feel the connection, and choose appreciation over fear. And what's more, the amygdala, that ancient guardian of threat and anxiety, becomes quieter. Now think about that for a moment. Imagine what it means if the very mechanism of fear is dialed down while your system of reward is dialed up. And even if you're not aware of how this applies to your current state, perhaps a part of you is already exploring the implications, aren't you? In contrast, negative states like fear or anger create the opposite effect, activating the amygdala, shutting down the reward system. It's as if the brain is pulled away from joy and into survival. But gratitude moves us out of defense and into growth. And this is no metaphor, this is wiring. This is neuroplasticity at work. Because each time you practice gratitude, you're reinforcing these pathways. You're telling your brain, this matters. You're shaping it to seek the signal of appreciation over the noise of negativity. And while it's easy to assume this is just a feel-good moment, there's something deeper happening, something that, once noticed, tends to ripple through everything else. And maybe you're already feeling that shift begin without knowing exactly when it started. Let's use a simple image. Think of your brain as a garden. Negative thoughts are weeds. Left untended, they spread. But gratitude, that's a flower. When nurtured daily, even lightly, it begins to overtake the space, pushing out the weeds simply by taking root. And something remarkable begins to grow. Studies comparing grateful individuals to others show measurable differences: stronger dopamine activity, less amygdala activation, and greater resilience in facing life's challenges. Gratitude doesn't just feel good, it transforms the architecture of your mind. And yet, in those same studies, a curious pattern emerges. One detail researchers often mention, but rarely explain fully. Could it be that gratitude doesn't just change how we feel about life, but how life feels about us? It might sound strange, but when you consistently radiate gratitude, something shifts in your relationships, in your body, and even in the way opportunities seem to find you. Perhaps it's coincidence, or perhaps it's coherence, internal harmony attracting external harmony. And as this coherence strengthens, you begin to change, not because you tried to, but because the brain learns to prefer it. You're not just becoming happier, you're becoming different. And the more you practice, the more automatic it becomes. Like learning to play a beautiful instrument, you don't master it overnight, but you do begin to hear music where there used to be silence. Each time you give thanks, it's like plucking a string. And over time, the melody changes. And before you even realize how much you've changed, you may notice the world begins to respond differently too. But this isn't about faking it. It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about shifting your center of gravity, leaning your focus toward what uplifts instead of what drains. The more you appreciate, the more you build a neurological pathway to your own well-being. You can start small, one moment of thanks before bed, a breath of appreciation when things go right, or even when they don't. The key is consistency, because when you practice this daily, something fascinating begins to happen, not all at once, but gradually, inevitably. You'll start noticing that things that once annoyed you barely register. People who used to trigger stress no longer have the same effect. Your reactions shift, and soon gratitude becomes more than a practice. It becomes a lens, a new way of seeing everything. And here's something worth pondering. The brain you're using to read this now won't be the same brain a month from now, will it? Because every choice you make, every focus you feed, rewires you. And gratitude, as simple as it sounds, might just be the most powerful rewiring tool you'll ever hold. You may find yourself wondering, if something this simple can produce such deep results, what else have you overlooked? And once you start to sense that, it changes things. Because the next time you feel that quiet warmth of appreciation, you might also notice a second feeling trailing close behind it. One that whispers, "This is who you really are." Chapter 2: Gratitude and Neuroplasticity. The journey toward a more fulfilling and resilient life, as we've begun to explore, isn't merely about thinking positively. It's something far more powerful. It's about reshaping the brain itself, and the moment you begin to realize this isn't just metaphorical, but biological, something starts to shift. Because what you're about to discover is how gratitude actually changes the very architecture of your mind. This ability to rewire, known as neuroplasticity, is the brain's innate power to reorganize its structure in response to experience. A kind of silent sculptor, working behind the scenes, responding to every thought, every feeling, every habit you feed it. And as you reflect on that now, you might begin to notice that something has already started reshaping inside. Gratitude, it turns out, is one of the most potent tools we have to direct this remodeling process. But there's a deeper aspect to this, something quieter, more intimate, that we'll return to in just a moment. Neuroplasticity isn't passive. It doesn't just happen to you. It responds to what you repeatedly focus on and how consistently you engage. That's why cultivating gratitude isn't about eliminating negativity in one sweeping gesture. It's about gently, repeatedly, tending to new pathways. Over time, the brain follows what you feed it. So imagine your mind as a living garden. When left alone, weeds, those old patterns of fear, regret, resentment, creep in uninvited. But when you show up daily, even briefly, to water the seeds of gratitude, something begins to grow. Something beautiful, something sturdy. And the way those roots take hold might surprise you more than you think. Research confirms what ancient wisdom always suggested. Gratitude reshapes the brain. In those who journal their thanks, express appreciation, or simply pause to notice the good, we observe increased activity in the reward system, dopamine flows more freely, and decreased activation in the amygdala, where fear and anxiety usually live. But this isn't just a temporary mood swing, this is reconstruction at the neural level. Still, you may be wondering, how deep can these changes really go? That question becomes even more intriguing when you consider another discipline, one that's also proven to alter the brain's structure. Mindfulness, a practice of focused, non-judgmental awareness. Mindfulness shares much with gratitude. Both shift your attention away from rumination and toward presence, and both awaken something quietly powerful in the brain. Brain scans of long-term meditators show growth in regions like the hippocampus, responsible for learning and memory. This increase in volume is a biological signature of neuroplasticity, living proof that the brain remembers what it's practiced, which leads to a compelling idea: cultivating gratitude is not just emotional, it's anatomical. But there's something even more interesting emerging from recent studies. It's the synergy between mindfulness and gratitude. You see, when we train ourselves to be present, we become more aware of beauty, kindness, subtle pleasures. This heightened awareness primes us to feel grateful more often, more naturally. And in turn, the more grateful we feel, the more present we become. It's a feedback loop, a neurological upward spiral. But how do you actually tap into that synergy? Not just understand it, but live it. One place to begin is with expression, because gratitude doesn't only live in thought, it moves through action. Whether spoken aloud, written down, or given as a simple gesture, expressing gratitude activates social and emotional networks in the brain. When you say thank you and mean it, not only do you lift another person, you reinforce the very neural pathways that help you feel more joy, more connection, more emotional strength. This opens up a surprising idea that every thank you isn't just for them, it's rewiring you. And if that's true, then maybe gratitude isn't just a mood booster, it's a neurological upgrade. Because when you practice it consistently, you're not simply changing how you feel, you're changing what you become. The implications are profound. You're not only weakening the pathways of fear, anxiety, and resentment, you're simultaneously strengthening the circuits tied to joy, contentment, connection, and meaning. This is not a surface-level polish. This is a restructuring of the brain's response system itself. Still, for many, there remains a crucial question. How do we turn this science into something practical, something we can use every single day? The answer isn't complicated. In fact, it's disarmingly simple. Small practices, done consistently, with intention. Some of the most effective include gratitude journaling. Just a few minutes a day, writing 3 to 5 things you're thankful for. Not fancy, just real. A smile, a moment, a sound, a sensation. Expressing appreciation to others, a genuine compliment, a thank you text, a warm glance that says, "I see you." This not only lifts someone else's spirit, it strengthens yours. Mindful moments of appreciation. You might try this right now. Notice the way your breath feels, or the way light moves in the room. These micro moments anchor you in presence, and gratitude flows in easily. Focusing on the positive, actively looking for the good, doesn't mean ignoring the bad. It simply means choosing what to water. And whatever you water, grows. Acts of kindness. Big or small, kindness is gratitude in motion. It's the bridge between intention and transformation. Every time you offer help, encouragement, or care, you deepen the neural pathways of appreciation. But there's one more element, perhaps the most important one of all. It's the compounding effect of repetition. You may have already noticed it. The way a small act done repeatedly becomes second nature. The way one kind thought often leads to another. These practices, when sustained, begin to build on themselves, and soon they form the emotional scaffolding for a new version of you. One that doesn't just react to the world, but reshapes how it feels. Still, some days will feel effortless, others like a steep climb. And that's part of the process. Because what really matters is persistence, not perfection, not performance. Just a daily, mindful return to what matters. And as you stay with it, something happens. You begin to notice your reactions changing. Your mind feels lighter. Your mood recovers faster. What once triggered stress now sparks curiosity. What once felt like noise begins to feel quiet. The science is clear. The experience becomes clearer. And yet, the most surprising part is what you begin to realize. That your brain is not just an organ. It's a storyteller, a pattern maker, a reflection of what you've chosen to focus on, moment by moment, day by day. And gratitude, it seems, might be the pen. Because this journey isn't about temporary highs or self-help slogans. It's about fundamentally altering the way your mind engages with life. It's about creating an inner landscape where joy, appreciation, and resilience are not fleeting visitors, but permanent residents. And as you continue to practice, to pause, to appreciate, you may start to feel something unexpected. A sense that something far deeper has begun to unfold, something still unnamed, but deeply felt, something waiting just beneath the surface, ready to rise. Chapter 3: The Impact of Gratitude on Stress Hormones. So far, our exploration has taken us deep into the transformative power of gratitude, how it rewires the brain, strengthens resilience, and plants seeds of joy through the pathways of neuroplasticity. But what happens when we shift our focus just a little further down, into the body, into the pulse, the breath, the bloodstream? Because the truth is, gratitude doesn't just make you feel better, it changes what your body becomes. And this is where the story begins to take a measurable, almost startling turn. At the center of your stress response system is cortisol, a steroid hormone produced by your adrenal glands. Cortisol in small doses is helpful. It regulates blood sugar, blood pressure, and immune function. But when life feels like a series of demands, interruptions, and silent pressures, cortisol stays high, too high. And prolonged elevation of cortisol can become a silent saboteur, triggering issues like weight gain, hypertension, immune dysfunction, even accelerating aging itself. And here's where it gets more personal than you might have expected. Chronic cortisol isn't just a physical issue. It weaves itself into your mind, feeding anxiety, depression, sleep disturbance. The question is, how do we interrupt this spiral? That's where gratitude, quiet, simple, and underestimated, becomes something far more powerful than we've been led to believe. Multiple studies now confirm what intuition always hinted at. Gratitude reduces cortisol. Consider a landmark study in psychology and health, where participants under significant stress were asked to write down just 3 things they were grateful for each day, over 3 weeks. The results? Cortisol levels dropped significantly, while self-reported stress plummeted and overall well-being rose. But what's really happening beneath the surface, in your brain, in your blood, is even more revealing. You see, this isn't random. It's not just correlation, it's cause and effect. When gratitude is felt sincerely, your brain responds by releasing dopamine and serotonin, chemicals that counter cortisol, soothe anxiety, and restore balance. Gratitude acts as a neurological counterweight to the stress response, shifting your emotional and physiological gears at the same time. And this shift, it's not subtle when you know what to look for. Gratitude changes your focus. It pulls your attention from what threatens you to what supports you. This attentional shift interrupts the stress loop, reducing cortisol's grip before it spirals into overwhelm. And here's where you may start to notice something surprising. Imagine this. A deadline looms, pressure rises, your breathing shortens, but instead of spiraling, you pause. You recall a small moment of appreciation, someone's kindness, a moment of laughter, the color of the sky. That moment activates your brain's reward circuitry, releasing feel-good neurotransmitters that begin to undo the cortisol surge. Your body slows, your mind clears, your perspective widens. You haven't escaped stress, you've transformed how your body meets it. And from that transformation, a ripple begins. This reduction in cortisol doesn't just make you feel calmer, it reshapes the systems that sustain your health. When cortisol decreases, sleep improves. Naturally, cortisol should be highest in the morning, gradually tapering by nightfall. But in chronically stressed individuals, cortisol remains elevated into the evening, disrupting sleep. Practicing gratitude helps restore this rhythm. The result? Deeper, more restorative sleep, the kind that heals both body and mind. And the benefits don't stop there. Reduced cortisol also strengthens your immune system. Chronic stress suppresses immunity, opening the door to frequent illness. But gratitude, a simple shift in perspective, can close that door. By calming cortisol, you allow your immune system to operate at full strength, reducing illness and increasing vitality. But perhaps these benefits feel most real, not in lab reports, but in real people. Like Sarah was a high-performing executive on the edge of burnout. Her body told the truth before she did. Insomnia, fatigue, immune crashes. It wasn't until she began a twice-daily gratitude journal, 5 honest entries each morning and night, that the shift began. Sleep returned, her energy stabilized, her immune system responded. Anxiety lifted. This wasn't magic. It was accumulated neurological renovation, brick by brick, breath by breath. And then there's John. A single dad, juggling work and parenthood, John felt pulled in too many directions. Irritability had become his baseline. But after a stress workshop, he started a daily gratitude meditation, just 5 minutes each morning. Within weeks, his anxiety dropped, his sleep improved. And something more subtle happened too. His kids noticed a difference. His connection to them deepened. The stress didn't vanish, but his capacity expanded. These stories reveal what research numbers alone cannot. Gratitude is not a gimmick. It's a daily, science-backed tool for recalibrating your relationship with stress. So how do you begin? What are the first small actions that build toward these shifts? Here are 5 practical steps you can take, starting today, to begin transforming your stress response through the power of gratitude. 1. Daily gratitude journaling. Each day, write down 3 to 5 things you're genuinely thankful for. They don't need to be profound, just real. This daily ritual strengthens the emotional muscles that shift your perception. 2nd, gratitude meditation. Even a 5-minute guided gratitude meditation can drop cortisol and recalibrate your nervous system. Let your body feel the warmth of appreciation and notice what changes. 3rd, mindful appreciation. Pause during your day to savor a small detail, a scent, a taste, a smile. These mindful moments are anchors that bring the body back to balance. 4th, verbal expressions of gratitude. Say thank you, not out of habit, but with sincerity. This act, simple as it seems, activates positive feedback loops in your brain and strengthens bonds with others. 5. Acts of kindness. When you give your time, your attention, your help, you activate the same neural networks as gratitude. It's all part of the same system, the same healing. And once these habits begin to take root, you may notice something quietly changing inside you. Stress still visits, but it doesn't stay as long. Tension still arises, but it loses its grip more easily. Because when you shift your internal state, the external world meets you differently. This isn't about ignoring life's challenges, it's about equipping yourself with tools that make you more capable of meeting them. And the best part, the deeper benefits, the most life-altering shifts, often show up just when you're on the verge of giving up. That's when the body says, yes. Keep going. Because gratitude, practiced consistently, is not just emotional, it's physiological, it's neurological, it's transformational. It's how you train your body to recover faster, sleep deeper, fight harder, and love more fully. And it begins with one small moment. A breath, a pause, a thank you. Chapter 4. Gratitude's influence on the immune system. As our journey into the heart of gratitude deepens, we've uncovered its potent influence on stress hormones, particularly cortisol. We've seen how gratitude can become an antidote to the corrosive effects of chronic stress, how it softens the edges of overwhelm, rewires the mind, and nurtures resilience. But there's something more, something that reaches further still. Because gratitude doesn't stop at shifting the brain. It goes deeper, into the body, into the cells, into the silent defense network we call the immune system. And it's here, where biology and emotion entwine, that something fascinating begins to unfold. The mind and the body, once thought of as separate, are in truth inseparable. Your beliefs, your feelings, your inner emotional weather, all ripple outward, influencing every physiological system, including the one that stands guard, quietly protecting you from harm. And gratitude, as it turns out, sends a signal that echoes through this entire network, like sunlight filtering into the root system of a forest. But what happens beneath the surface may surprise you. Chronic stress, as we've explored, is more than emotional discomfort. It's biological erosion. When cortisol remains elevated, it suppresses the immune system, disarming key defenders like lymphocytes, your T and B cells, the very foot soldiers that battle viruses and bacteria. Stress also disrupts the gut microbiome, a crucial ally in immunity and the home of the gut-brain axis, a two-way street of constant communication between thought and immunity. Now here's the shift. When gratitude enters, it begins to rebalance the system. Through its natural reduction of cortisol and the emotional calm it generates, gratitude re-establishes harmony within the immune response. Consider a study in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine. Participants who practiced gratitude regularly showed increased activity of natural killer NK cells, specialized lymphocytes that detect and destroy infected or cancerous cells. Gratitude, in other words, primes your immune system for vigilance and healing. And that's just the beginning. Other studies reveal a rise in antibody production in those who consistently express gratitude. Antibodies are your body's unique signature weapons, proteins designed to identify and neutralize specific pathogens. While researchers are still mapping the exact biochemical pathways, the evidence points to gratitude-induced neurochemical shifts, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, that support immune modulation. And what's more, there's a ripple effect. The emotional uplift that gratitude delivers, optimism, hope, connection, creates a positive climate within the body. And just like a plant thrives in fertile soil, your immune system flourishes in that emotional ecosystem. Gratitude doesn't just remove stress, it amplifies vitality. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes not from data, but from people. Take Emily, a young woman navigating life with an autoimmune disorder. Her immune system confused, attacking her own body. Fatigue, inflammation, pain. Amid conventional treatment, she began a simple daily practice, reflecting on what still worked, what still brought her joy. Her symptoms didn't vanish overnight, but they changed. Her fatigue lightened, her inflammation receded, her sense of agency returned. Gratitude became a lens, a way to partner with her body, not fight it. And then there's David, a senior facing recurrent respiratory infections, his immune system battered by age and stress. After a workshop, he began journaling daily, not lofty entries, just real ones. His dog's wagging tail, a warm phone call, the scent of coffee. Weeks turned to months, infections dwindled, his energy returned. And something else happened. He began to feel alive again. These stories, like many others, reveal something profound. Gratitude isn't about blind positivity. It's about training the body and mind to return to balance, even amidst struggle. But this raises a question. How can something so small have effects so wide-reaching? The answer lies in the convergence of systems: stress hormones, immune cells, neurotransmitters, microbiota. Gratitude touches them all. By calming the nervous system and shifting your focus, you activate a cascade that strengthens immunity. Your body becomes more resilient. Your health becomes more stable, and you begin to meet life from a place of inner strength. And that strength becomes something you can build on. Because gratitude isn't a supplement, it's a practice. And like any practice, it grows stronger with repetition, with intention, with heart. So how do you begin? Here are a few simple yet powerful ways to engage gratitude as a tool to fortify your immune system. First, gratitude journaling. Spend a few minutes each day writing down 3 to 5 things you're thankful for. Keep it simple. The warmth of your blanket, a friend's laughter, a moment of silence. Let the practice be real. Second, gratitude meditations. Use guided recordings or create your own. Sit quietly and reflect on people, experiences, or qualities you appreciate. Breathe those feelings into your body. Let them settle, soften, soothe. Third, mindful appreciation. Pause during the day. Notice beauty, kindness, synchronicity. These micro moments accumulate, and your body listens. Fourth, verbal expressions. Say thank you more often, and mean it. Speak your appreciation aloud. This strengthens not just relationships, but immune-supporting emotions like connection and safety. 5. Acts of kindness. Give generously of your attention, your help, your smile. These moments are physiological interventions, releasing endorphins and lowering stress hormones. And as these habits take hold, something begins to change inside you. The world looks different. Your body feels stronger. Your energy deepens. And beneath all that, your immune system responds, quietly, faithfully, consistently. But the influence of gratitude doesn't stop at the individual level. Gratitude strengthens connection. It binds us to one another. It reinforces social bonds, which research shows are critical to immune function. Feeling seen, valued, and supported boosts immunity more than most realize. In this way, gratitude builds a web of strength that goes far beyond any single body. And yet, there's something even more interesting. As you actively choose to focus on what's working, on what's good, you begin to rewire your perception. That rewiring doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how your body functions. It becomes your new baseline. So what begins as a simple thank you becomes a biological cascade of healing and protection. Gratitude journaling becomes immune training. Kindness becomes medicine. Appreciation becomes resilience. And this isn't abstract. This is measurable, repeatable, real. And when practiced consistently, it becomes a way of life. Whether it's writing down blessings at night, offering thanks in conversation, or pausing to savor a moment of beauty, each act of gratitude becomes a signal to your body. You are safe. You are strong. You are supported. This signal, repeated day after day, builds something no supplement ever could. A life aligned with healing, a body tuned for vitality, a mind resilient to adversity, and what begins with a moment of thanks may evolve into a lifelong transformation. Chapter 5. Measuring the effects of gratitude. Our exploration into the transformative nature of gratitude has already uncovered its effects on stress and immune function. But how do we measure something so profoundly internal? How do we track the quiet revolution happening within us as we cultivate this simple yet powerful habit? To witness the progress of your gratitude practice, not just feel it, but see it reflected back to you, you need tools. Not to reduce the magic to numbers, but to make the invisible shifts visible. And yet, some of the most meaningful changes happen in places no metric can fully reach. One of the most direct ways to begin measuring gratitude is through self-assessment. This isn't guesswork, it's a deliberate act of paying attention to your inner experience. Journaling, for instance, allows you to mark the moments that mattered. At day's end, or during a quiet pause, you might jot down when you felt grateful, what triggered it, and how it affected you. These entries become breadcrumbs of transformation. And when you look back over weeks or months, patterns begin to appear. You may notice that gratitude grows after time in nature, after kind gestures, or after simply being still. And when those patterns begin to surface, you may find yourself asking something deeper. Beyond free-form journaling, structured self-assessment tools offer another layer of insight. These often use validated psychological scales, guiding you to rate your experience of gratitude across multiple dimensions. They help you step back and observe your emotional terrain from a different angle, one you might not access otherwise. One such tool is the Gratitude Questionnaire 6-item, GQ-6. It offers a quick yet revealing snapshot of your current state of gratitude. Taken periodically, it reveals subtle shifts over time, showing you what may be blooming beneath the surface. And sometimes it's not about what changes quickly, but what's been quietly evolving all along. Another insightful instrument is the Gratitude Attitude Scale, GAS. This tool goes beyond surface gratitude, exploring its direction and depth. It reveals where your appreciation flows most easily, toward people, places, accomplishments, and where it hesitates. You might discover, for instance, that you're generous in thanking others but rarely acknowledge your own growth. The GAS helps highlight such blind spots, so you can choose where to soften, deepen, expand. And those smallest blind spots, they're often the doorways to your greatest breakthroughs. For those curious to explore beyond emotional reflection, physiological tracking offers a compelling perspective. While gratitude doesn't have a single biomarker, it influences the systems that speak through your body. One of the most valuable indicators is heart rate variability, or HRV. A higher HRV suggests resilience, your body's ability to shift between stress and relaxation with ease. And gratitude, by soothing the nervous system, tends to lift HRV over time. This isn't a direct measure of gratitude, but it is a mirror of its ripple effects. You can track HRV through fitness devices or with professional support. Paired with your journaling or questionnaire results, it paints a fuller picture, not just of how you feel, but of how your body responds to how you feel. And if you're wondering what else your body might be trying to tell you, another subtle signal is sleep. Gratitude tends to quiet the mind and relax the body, reducing cortisol and enhancing rest. Improved sleep, falling asleep more easily, waking less often, and feeling more restored can be a reflection of gratitude's calming influence. Apps, sleep journals, and even your own felt experience become gentle barometers of change. But all tools have their limitations. They are snapshots, not the whole story. Self-report tools can be colored by mood. Physiological markers can shift with diet, movement, or seasonal rhythms, which is why a blended approach, mixing numbers with narrative, tracking with reflection, is often the most illuminating path. But what happens when you begin to connect the dots in a way that's deeply personal? For example, you might pair the GQ6 with your journal. You score high, numerically. Yet your writing reveals gratitude aimed mostly at material things, with little mention of people or inner growth. That awareness invites you to recalibrate, to turn your attention toward relationships or toward your own quiet strengths. Or maybe you notice your HRV improving, but your journal still echoes anxious thoughts. That insight tells a different story, that your body may be healing even as the mind catches up, or that other forms of stress still need tending. These mixed signals, when held with curiosity, often reveal opportunities for deeper alignment. The key is to find a rhythm that suits you. If questionnaires feel too clinical, let your pen guide you. If journaling feels too open-ended, let structured scales shape your reflection. The tools are not the path, they are the lanterns along it. And the path of gratitude, as you already know, is not about chasing scores. It's about showing up to the present moment with openness and letting even small changes count as progress. Reviewing your measurements with gentle honesty will illuminate where you've come from and quietly point to where you're headed next. Because the journey of gratitude is not linear. It spirals, expands, deepens. Try different tools. Track what matters. Let the data speak, but don't forget to listen between the numbers. Watch what shifts in your body, in your language, in your gaze. Let it be an experiment in self-discovery, an evolving living portrait of your inner world. And as the numbers move, the patterns unfold, and your sense of self deepens. You may realize this is more than measurement. This is a mirror of becoming. The tools illuminate, the practice transforms. The magic lies not just in what you track, but in what you begin to see that you never noticed before. Chapter 6: Connecting Gratitude to Higher Purpose. Our journey through gratitude has already revealed its tangible influence: lower stress, improved immunity, measurable growth. But there comes a point when data no longer captures what begins to unfold, because beyond the numbers, something quieter begins to stir, something that connects gratitude not just to health, but to the soul. And once you begin to feel it, not just think it, you may sense that something deeper is already shifting beneath the surface. At its core, gratitude isn't just a mood. It's a message, a whisper from within that says, "You belong here." Each act of thanks, toward a sunrise, a smile, a stranger, isn't just about that moment. It's a thread reconnecting you to the larger web of life. The deeper you go, the more you see. You are not alone. You never were. And yet, this understanding only fully blooms when nurtured with time and intention. Spiritual traditions have long echoed this truth. In Buddhism, gratitude is a gateway to compassion. Practices like metta bhavana begin by directing love and appreciation inward, then gently outward, toward loved ones, toward strangers, even toward those who challenge us. As this expands, the illusion of separation softens. Gratitude becomes a bridge to boundless kindness. In Christianity, gratitude deepens faith. Giving thanks through prayer is more than habit. It is alignment, a way of synchronizing heart and spirit with divine flow. It's a practice that cultivates humility, reverence, and an openness to grace. And while these paths differ in form, what they lead to is often astonishingly similar. Gratitude across cultures and teachings is a spiritual technology, a way of reaching beyond the self and tapping into the greater whole. It becomes a refuge in hardship and a compass in confusion. It reminds us that even when life feels chaotic, there is still meaning. There is still good. And when we choose to notice what is working, what is kind, generous, sacred, we anchor ourselves in that goodness. We create an inner alignment, one that doesn't depend on external control, but on internal recognition. And what happens when that recognition becomes your way of seeing? A shift begins, not in circumstance, but in sensation. You begin to remember your gifts, not as ego, but as offering. Your purpose doesn't appear as a lightning bolt, it reveals itself gradually, in moments of kindness, of resonance, of flow. Sometimes it looks like helping a neighbor. Sometimes it's listening without fixing. Sometimes it's simply showing up with your full presence, because presence, rooted in gratitude, transmits healing all on its own. This is where gratitude and purpose intertwine. This is where service begins. And in that space, you begin to enter something else entirely: flow. Flow isn't a task, it's a feeling of being perfectly placed, where your passions meet the needs of the moment. Gratitude opens the gates to flow by quieting the mind, reducing inner resistance, and amplifying clarity. When you're thankful, you're not distracted by scarcity, you're guided by presence. In flow, you become fully available to life, to others, to yourself. And in that availability, your true purpose becomes visible. But gratitude's gifts don't stop at joy and flow. They extend to healing, the kind that doesn't erase pain, but transforms your relationship with it. Gratitude makes forgiveness possible, not because the past was fair, but because holding on to pain costs more than releasing it. Gratitude invites you to look again, not with denial, but with compassion. To ask, what did this teach me? How has it shaped who I've become? Even the hardest chapters may one day reveal themselves as teachers. And when they do, something beautiful happens. You make peace with your past and open space for a softer future. Gratitude also breaks the spell of comparison. We live in a world flooded with curated lives and filtered milestones. It's easy to feel behind, less than, unworthy. But gratitude brings you back to what you have, who you are, and how far you've already come. It teaches you to stand inside your own story, proud and peaceful, even if that story is still unfolding. And from that place of self-acceptance, a new possibility begins to arise. Cultivating a spiritual gratitude practice isn't passive. It's a conscious return, again and again, to a state of openness. It's saying yes to what is, and that yes becomes a doorway to everything else. Sure, journaling and heart rate monitors can support the journey, but they're not the destination. The real transformation lives in the space between actions, in your breath, your awareness, your intention. Your spiritual gratitude practice may look like morning silence, or pausing before a meal, or offering kindness to someone who'll never repay you. It doesn't have to be structured. It just has to be true. And as this truth integrates into daily life, something subtle begins to take root. Gratitude evolves, from fleeting feeling to embodied wisdom, from a private emotion to a sacred force that aligns you with your higher self. And from that alignment, everything changes. Because when you live from gratitude, generosity becomes natural, compassion becomes instinct, and service becomes a joy rather than a burden. Your sense of contribution expands, not from obligation, but from overflow. And when you give from overflow, the world changes with you. This is how gratitude touches more than just the self. It becomes a living transmission. Others feel it. They're lifted by it. Your practice ripples through conversations, communities, and causes. And in those ripples, a quiet revolution unfolds. Yes, there is more to explore, more depths to uncover, more hidden facets of this practice to integrate. But as you stand here now, On this threshold between knowledge and knowing, you may already feel it. Gratitude is not an end. It's a beginning, an invitation to live in wholeness, an opportunity to align your life not just with meaning, but with the mystery itself. And somewhere, just beyond your next grateful breath, your truest purpose may be waiting, already reaching back for you. Chapter 7: Gratitude and Intuition. Having explored gratitude's impact on well-being, physiology, and spiritual practice, we now turn our attention toward a dimension that's often felt but rarely understood. Intuition. That subtle voice, that gut feeling, that quiet nudge guiding us when logic falls silent. Often dismissed as coincidence or fantasy, intuition is increasingly being recognized as a form of deeper intelligence, a wisdom beyond the noise of thought. And gratitude, it turns out, may be one of the keys that unlocks that deeper inner knowing. But how exactly does gratitude open the door to intuitive clarity? The answer begins where silence meets insight. Gratitude shifts the way we experience the world, and that shift changes everything. By focusing on what's good, what's working, what's present, we naturally move out of fear and scarcity, the very soil where anxiety grows. Instead, we root into trust, into presence, into the kind of stillness where intuition can finally be heard. It's as if gratitude clears the static, making space for a quieter signal to emerge. And this shift isn't just emotional, it's biochemical. Gratitude lowers cortisol and raises dopamine and serotonin, moving the nervous system into a more receptive state. When the mind is clenched in stress, it clings to logic. But when it relaxes into appreciation, it opens to a broader intelligence, one that includes both reason and something more subtle, something older, something deeper. And within that deeper space, beneath the conscious mind, something surprising often begins to stir. Gratitude enhances connection, not just to others, but to something larger. A source of wisdom that doesn't speak in words, but in sensations, patterns, synchronicities. Call it source, spirit, the unconscious mind. Call it what you will. But many who practice gratitude report the same experience. They just know. The right path, the right moment, the right decision. It becomes clear, often unexpectedly. Think of the times you trusted a hunch and it was right. That hunch, that wasn't guesswork. That was you, tuned in. And gratitude sharpens the signal. This doesn't mean ignoring logic. It means integrating intuition as a co-pilot, a companion to reason that adds nuance, depth, and sometimes revelation. And the more we listen, the more that inner voice seems to speak clearly, sometimes in moments when we least expect it. Cultivating intuition takes time. Like gratitude, it grows through consistency, presence, and patience. Mindfulness helps, because when you slow down and pay attention, you begin to notice what was always there. A whisper, a feeling, a flicker of knowing. Meditation, quiet walks, even mindful breathwork can clear the path. But more than technique, it requires trust, a willingness to follow even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Journaling, too, becomes a mirror, a way to trace the quiet decisions you made from intuition and how those choices unfolded. Over time, patterns appear, and as your journal fills, so too does your trust in that inner compass. And as the journal fills, so too does our trust in that quiet inner compass. Many who practice gratitude report this exact shift. They make quicker, clearer decisions. They anticipate change before it arrives. They navigate relationships and opportunities with unexpected grace. It's not magic, it's resonance. The outer world begins to reflect the clarity cultivated within. Let's consider an example. Imagine a businesswoman faced with a high-stakes decision. The data is murky, the analysis unclear, but after weeks of gratitude practice, she feels calmer, more grounded. One morning, while reflecting on her support system, a quiet insight emerges. Something's missing in the plan, a key partner. She hadn't seen it before. Now it's obvious. That insight, born from stillness and trust, shifts everything. The revised plan succeeds beyond her expectations. This is how gratitude tunes the mind to receive intuition, not by force, but by alignment. And sometimes intuitive breakthroughs arrive not with fanfare, but through unexpected moments of quiet gratitude. Consider an artist paralyzed by a creative block. Day after day, the canvas remains blank, but instead of forcing an idea, they pause. They breathe. They feel gratitude for their creative gifts, even when dormant. In that acceptance, something shifts. A new idea arrives, not from thought, but from knowing. A breakthrough unfolds. The artist paints again, not from pressure, but from flow. Gratitude unlocks that flow. Because when you're no longer fixated on lack or pressure, inspiration has room to move. The grateful heart becomes fertile soil for intuitive growth. Gratitude is not just an emotional uplift, it's a form of energetic attunement, and intuition responds to that tuning. Together, they create a feedback loop. Appreciation clears the way, insight flows in, clarity builds, appreciation deepens. But for those who stay the course, the rewards, internal and external, can be quietly life-altering. Integrating gratitude and intuition is not about mastering a formula. It's about showing up, consistently, intentionally, willingly. Whether through meditation, journaling, breath, or the silent thank you offered during a passing moment, it all counts. Every small act of appreciation sharpens your awareness. Every time you pause and feel that warmth in your chest, you create space for insight. Over time, you begin to live in alignment, not just with what's happening around you, but with what's unfolding within you. And in that alignment, life begins to feel more guided, more graceful, more meaningful. This is the path we're on, not a destination, but a deepening, a journey from thinking to sensing, from guessing to knowing, from control to trust. Each act of gratitude, no matter how small, contributes to the overall transformation. The cumulative effect of these small acts is a significant shift in our consciousness, a move away from negativity and scarcity toward abundance and trust. This shift is the key to unlocking the intuitive potential that lies within us all. Embrace this journey, allowing yourself to be guided by your intuition, nurtured by gratitude, and empowered by the profound connection between the two. The path may be winding, but the destination, a life lived with greater awareness, clarity, and inner peace, is well worth the effort. This life, enriched by the interplay of gratitude and intuition, promises a profound sense of purpose and an ever-deepening connection to the beauty and wonder of existence itself. And still, the most powerful insights may be the ones waiting just around the next quiet corner. Chapter 8: Gratitude and Forgiveness. The journey of cultivating gratitude is not confined to appreciation alone. It reaches deeper, into the places where pain still echoes, where the heart tightens around old wounds. Here, in these shadowed spaces, we meet something far more complex: forgiveness. A word so simple, yet an act so profound. Forgiveness asks us to shift, to soften, to release. And surprisingly, gratitude may be the key that gently unlocks what once felt unmovable. But how does something as soft as thankfulness wield enough strength to release the hardest emotions? Resentment, anger, bitterness. These emotions root themselves deep in the body, creating stress, tension, illness. They sap joy and weigh down the spirit. Forgiveness, then, becomes an act of self-liberation. Not forgetting, not condoning, but releasing. Letting go of the chain, even if the memory remains. Gratitude becomes the bridge. When we focus on what we appreciate, even in the presence of pain, we shift the spotlight. We step out of the shadows, not by denying the darkness, but by letting in a little light. And that light, once invited in, has a way of revealing what was always waiting to be seen. Take, for example, a betrayal. The sting of broken trust can linger long after the moment has passed. At first, forgiveness feels distant, impossible, but start with something simple. The love you've received from others, your capacity to survive, a lesson you learned. These small reflections, when woven through a gratitude practice, begin to reframe the experience. You're not erasing the pain, you're acknowledging your strength. From this place, compassion grows, not only for yourself, but for the one who caused harm. You begin to see that their pain may have been speaking too. This doesn't excuse behavior, it expands perspective. Still, what happens when forgiveness feels unreachable? That's where practice and patience come in. The integration of gratitude and forgiveness is a slow, deliberate journey, like walking uphill while carrying a stone, until one day the stone begins to feel lighter. Here are some ways to begin laying that burden down. 1. Gratitude journaling for forgiveness. At day's end, pause. Acknowledge where you felt hurt or triggered, then gently shift your focus. What moments of grace or support emerged alongside the pain? What insights arose? Write them down. Over time, these entries become proof of your capacity to evolve. 2. Compassionate self-talk. We often turn inward with blame after being hurt. Through gratitude, this voice softens. You might say, "I'm grateful for how I showed up. I'm grateful for my strength. I'm grateful I'm still growing." This internal dialogue, repeated, becomes your healing soundtrack. 3. Forgiveness. Meditation. Sit in stillness. Breathe. Visualize the person who hurt you, not to condone, but to shift. See them as someone who is, in their own way, struggling. Offer them peace. Then offer yourself the same. Say, "Thank you for the lesson. I release the rest." 4. Mindful breathing for release. When anger rises, breathe deep. Inhale presence. Exhale resentment. Each breath a quiet ritual of letting go. Each breath a signal to the body. It's safe now. 5. Creative expression. Sometimes words fail where color or melody can speak. Journal, paint, play music. Let gratitude guide the process, not to mask emotion, but to move it. This is how the heart finds its own rhythm of release. And remember, this path isn't linear. Some days you'll feel free. Others, the old ache may return. That's okay. You're not erasing the pain. You're rewriting your relationship with it. And yet, there's a deeper layer. One that invites us to forgive not just ourselves, but others too. Through consistent gratitude practice, self-compassion grows. And from that soil, understanding blossoms. You begin to see that others carry pain too, that their actions, however harmful, may have roots in their own suffering. Again, this is not about justifying, it's about liberating. You free yourself by refusing to carry the burden of another's brokenness. One powerful practice is to reflect on what the experience taught you. If a friendship ended in betrayal, perhaps it revealed your own boundaries, your strength, your clarity. You can be grateful for what the experience revealed, even if it hurt. And what happens when pain becomes a teacher? Something powerful shifts. You are no longer the victim of the story, you become its author. This is the alchemy of gratitude and forgiveness. In choosing to see growth in hardship, you expand. You take back your power, not through force, but through grace. Ultimately, forgiveness, aided by gratitude, is a gift you give yourself. It's peace returned, it's energy restored. It's the moment when the weight lifts and something softer takes its place. And somewhere along that path, you may find yourself grateful not just for healing, but for how far you've come. Because the journey of forgiveness is not about forgetting. It's about transforming. It's walking forward with wisdom instead of wounds. It's allowing gratitude to light the path, even when the terrain is steep. And through it all, you begin to notice something new. A sense of wholeness, a capacity for joy, a presence unburdened by the past. This is what's possible, not overnight, not without effort, but with heart and breath, and the steady return to what is good, what is true, and what is possible. Now, and when you look back from that place, you may be astonished by just how far you've traveled. Chapter 9. Gratitude and Compassion. The transformative power of gratitude reaches far beyond personal healing or individual forgiveness. It becomes something else, a catalyst, quietly opening us to compassion for ourselves and for others. When we begin to consistently notice what is good, what is kind, what is working, something changes, not just within us, but around us. And what happens when this awareness turns outward, quietly reshaping how we see the world? Imagine a world where each exchange, each fleeting glance, each shared moment is tinged with appreciation, where judgment gives way to curiosity and defensiveness softens into understanding. In such a world, we don't merely react, we relate. Gratitude becomes the lens, and through it, we begin to see the humanity in everyone. This shift is not simply a change in thought, it is a physical repatterning of the brain. Neuroscience confirms it. Gratitude activates regions linked to empathy, bonding, and social connection. By practicing gratitude regularly, we train ourselves toward compassion, biologically, emotionally, spiritually. And in that rewiring lies a subtle, life-altering potential, one that often unfolds in the smallest moments. Compassion may look gentle, but it's far from passive. It is active presence, a choice to see others not as separate, but as reflections of our shared struggle. And gratitude makes that choice easier. Because when you recognize your own blessings, your heart opens to the burdens of others. Consider Sarah, a single mother stretched thin by life. Overwhelmed, tired, alone, she starts small. A hug from her child, the color of the sky, a co-worker's encouragement. Gratitude grows, and as it grows, her vision widens. She sees beyond herself, to other parents, co-workers, strangers. Compassion blooms. And it's here that something begins to change, not outside, but within. Her gratitude extends outward, into action. She begins volunteering, listening more, helping where she can. Not because she's trying to fix anyone, but because her heart now sees differently. Then there's Mark, the driven executive. Success came fast, but connection came slow. Through gratitude, he begins to see the richness in the overlooked. Conversations, nature, the quiet love of family. Gratitude opens his awareness, and that awareness shifts his leadership. He listens, he cares, he inspires. Compassion becomes part of his mission, not a departure from success, but its evolution. And this ripple of transformation? It often begins with a single moment of noticing what's already good. These stories differ in context, but align in principle. Gratitude expands perception. Expanded perception nurtures compassion, and compassion translates into action through kindness, forgiveness, service. Try this. Visualize someone who's caused you pain. Instead of replaying the wound, practice sending them kindness, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Let gratitude guide you to what you've learned. From that clarity, compassion becomes possible. And once we see this, not just intellectually but viscerally, it becomes almost impossible not to care. Other practices help too. Acts of service, a kind word, an unexpected gesture. Helping others doesn't just change their day, it deepens our own sense of purpose. Gratitude for life's challenges too adds strength. It turns pain into meaning, and from that meaning, compassion grows. This journey is not one of perfection. You will falter. Compassion will feel distant, but each return to gratitude brings you closer to who you truly are. And perhaps, if you pause long enough, you'll begin to sense that the compassion you extend is also returning to you. Chapter 10. Gratitude and Spiritual Growth. Gratitude does more than soothe the heart or lift the mind. It opens a doorway into the soul. In its truest form, gratitude becomes a spiritual practice, gently leading us towards something deeper, something more enduring than momentary happiness. And sometimes, that deeper essence only begins to emerge when we least expect it. Picture this, a moment of genuine, wordless gratitude. Perhaps it's awe in nature, a silent thank you whispered at dusk, or tears that come, not from sorrow, but from the overwhelming beauty of being alive. In that moment, something ancient stirs, something vast. This is spiritual awakening, not in thunderclaps or revelation, but in subtle alignment. Gratitude doesn't just open the heart, it widens the lens of consciousness. Across traditions, gratitude is revered as sacred. In Buddhism, loving kindness, metta, invites us to send appreciation far beyond the self, even toward adversaries, even toward the pain. Through this, we release attachment, practicing non-violence, ahimsa, not only outwardly but inwardly. But what happens when we apply this principle beyond the cushion, into the chaos of everyday life? In Christianity, gratitude is an offering, a surrender, a thank you whispered to the divine even amidst uncertainty. It strengthens trust and opens the channel to grace. Indigenous traditions tie gratitude to the earth, to water, to wind. to the sun and soil, to honoring every cycle and every season. Gratitude here is not abstract, it's a living dialogue with life itself. And in that reverence lies something ancient, often forgotten, until gratitude gently brings it back into view. To walk this path intentionally, consider these practices. 1. Gratitude journaling. Simple, profound. Writing down what you're thankful for shifts your neural wiring, reshapes your mood, and becomes a record of spiritual alignment. The journal becomes your scripture, personal, evolving, sacred. 2. Gratitude meditation. Focus your breath, focus your awareness, let gratitude arise, not as a thought, but as a presence. This practice cultivates peace, dissolves egoic noise, and aligns you with the divine pulse that lives within everything. And with that attunement comes something subtle, but unmistakable, spiritual alignment that builds over time. 3. Expressing gratitude to others. When you thank someone with depth, you affirm the sacred in them. You create a loop of presence, kindness, and shared divinity. This is spiritual practice made visible. The journey is not always smooth. Doubt, grief, frustration, they still arise. But gratitude doesn't require perfection. It simply asks for a return. Each return strengthens your inner scaffolding. Each moment of thanks becomes a stepping stone towards something more whole. And in those very moments of doubt, if we stay present, something unexpected may begin to unfold. Even life's challenges, when viewed through this lens, become sacred teachers. Gratitude for these experiences doesn't dismiss the pain, it transforms it. From wound to wisdom, from chaos to clarity, this gratitude provides a deeper appreciation for the lessons learned and allows for the integration of new perspectives that lead to ongoing spiritual growth. The more you commit to this practice, the more your inner world shifts. Life feels richer, time feels deeper, your purpose becomes clearer, not as a goal to chase, but as a presence to embody. Spiritual growth through gratitude is not a doctrine, it's a living, breathing journey. A way of seeing, a way of being, one that connects you to your highest potential, your truest nature, and to something far greater than yourself. And even now, perhaps, you can sense it. That quiet invitation to go deeper still. Chapter 11, The Energetic Signature of Gratitude. We've explored how gratitude transforms your inner world, healing, expanding, and elevating your state of being. But there's another layer, one that vibrates beneath words and thought. It's the subtle, radiant field that surrounds you, colors your experience, and silently speaks on your behalf. This is your energetic signature, and gratitude is one of its most powerful sculptors. But here's where things get interesting, because this energy isn't just reactive, it's magnetic. Imagine tuning into a radio station. The quality of what you receive depends on your frequency. Your body, your mind, your emotions, they're all transmitters. They broadcast your state of consciousness. Fear, scarcity, resentment, they radiate one kind of signal. Gratitude, joy, love, they emit something entirely different. And the universe, ever responsive, echoes back what you're radiating out. Gratitude is not just a warm feeling, it's a recalibration of your field. Studies show it rewires your brain, activating areas tied to awareness, empathy, and higher cognition. Neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin flood the system, elevating mood and shifting perception. And as this chemistry shifts, so does your signal to the universe. Your vibrational field tunes itself to higher frequencies. You don't just feel better, you attract better, not by accident, but by resonance. This is the true essence of the law of attraction, not as wishful thinking, but as a physics of alignment. And that alignment? It's more powerful and more fragile than most people realize. Tuning your energy is not a one-time event, it's a living, breathing practice. A garden that flourishes only with attention, care, and consistency. Gratitude is the sunlight, the water, the soil. Try gratitude meditation. Feel the energy of thankfulness, let it flood your system. As you visualize your ideal life, infuse the scene with real emotional warmth. Don't just want it, feel it as if it's already here. The emotional charge strengthens your frequency, your signal becomes clearer, stronger. Think of yourself as a magnet, either attracting or repelling depending on your polarity. Negative thoughts repel, grateful thoughts pull, and the more consistently you choose gratitude, the stronger that magnetic field becomes. And the deeper the consistency, the more profound the shifts tend to be. Quantum mechanics tells us that consciousness collapses probability into form. Gratitude collapses the wave function in your favor, not because you're manipulating outcomes, but because you're aligning with a field already teeming with abundance. And science is catching up. Mind-body research confirms positive emotion heals, it boosts immunity, lowers inflammation, extends lifespan. This isn't magic, it's biology. And as your biology shifts, so does your field. And once you're in this loop, something curious tends to happen. Subtle shifts that become impossible to ignore. This isn't theory, it's happening every day. Placebo studies prove belief shapes biology. Gratitude enhances that belief, not through delusion, but through embodied trust. And spiritual traditions across cultures describe this same energy. Call it aura, field, chai, prana. The name doesn't matter, the impact does. And perhaps now you're beginning to sense how much influence you already have. So how can you apply this? Picture your desired reality, feel grateful for it now. Thank the universe not with hope, but with certainty. Feel gratitude for your current job, for what it taught you. Then thank the universe in advance for your promotion. Imagine the office, the colleagues, the joy. This changes your frequency. You become a match for success. Looking for love, don't ache for what's missing. Radiate gratitude for what's already here. Love in friendships, in family, in your own self-care. Visualize your partner arriving, not with longing, but with thankfulness. And what about life's inevitable hardships? That's where gratitude reveals its deepest power. Thank the challenge. Not because you like it, but because of what it's showing you. Strength, wisdom, clarity. The pain becomes your teacher. Your field evolves. Gratitude doesn't just change what happens, it changes how you happen to the world. This is the essence of energetic signature. You don't have to force change. You only have to tune in, radiate outward, and let the universe respond. And perhaps, just perhaps, your signal is already reaching further than you know. Chapter 12, Manifesting with Gratitude. Now that you understand how gratitude shifts your energy and tunes your field, let's bring this into the realm of conscious creation. Manifesting with gratitude is not about hoping, it's about resonating. It's not wishful thinking, it's deliberate alignment. And the results often begin to reveal themselves in the most surprising ways. It begins with a shift in focus, not on what's missing, but on what already is and what's already unfolding. The more vividly and emotionally you engage with your desired outcome as if it's already yours, the more powerfully you align your frequency with that reality. Let's walk through it, step by step. Step 1. Identify your desired outcome. Clarity is magnetic. The universe responds not to vague hopes, but to specific vibration. Define what you want. Write it down, make it real. Anchor the desire in language and intention. Step 2. Cultivate a gratitude mindset. Before reaching outward, ground yourself inward. List what you're grateful for now. This builds a strong energetic foundation. It tells the universe, I'm already abundant, I'm already ready. And as this mindset deepens, something curious tends to happen. Your perception starts to shift on its own. Step 3. Visualize and feel the gratitude. Close your eyes. Step into the desired reality. Don't just imagine it. Feel it. What emotions rise? What details surround you? Gratitude amplifies this image, embedding it into your field like a frequency beacon. Step 4. Express gratitude as if it's already manifested. Shift from wanting to having. Don't say, I hope it works. Say, I'm so grateful this is already mine. Feel the relief, the joy, the resonance. This is how you flip the switch from longing to alignment. Step 5. Take inspired action. Manifestation moves through you. When opportunities arise, act on them. Show the universe you're participating. Gratitude aligns the signal. Action grounds it into reality. Step 6. Maintain consistent practice. Your field is dynamic. Keep it clear. Revisit your vision. Reaffirm your gratitude. Stay open, even when results seem delayed. Often what's coming is better than what you imagined. And when you stay consistent, even in the face of uncertainty, you'll find yourself closer to your goals, often before you even realize it. Let's bring this to life with a few examples. Example 1. Dream home. Rather than obsess over scarcity, visualize the home you love. Feel the warmth, the sunlight, the safety. Express gratitude now. Then browse listings, visit homes, talk to agents. Watch how alignment speeds opportunity. Example 2. Healing the body. Instead of focusing on symptoms, honor your body's wisdom. Thank it for healing. Imagine vitality flowing. Pair this with healthy action. The body listens to your signal and amplifies it. Example 3. Fulfilling relationships. Feel gratitude for connection, no matter its current form. Appreciate friends. Appreciate your own presence. Visualize deep, mutual love. Then nurture the bonds you have. Send out what you wish to receive. Remember, the power of manifestation through gratitude lies in the consistent practice of shifting your focus from lack to abundance, from negativity to positivity, from doubt to certainty. It's not about forcing, it's about becoming. And still, manifestation is more than just receiving. It's about becoming. It's about aligning your internal state so completely with your desired life that the external begins to shape itself around you. And sometimes the outcomes will surprise you, because the universe sees the bigger picture. When things don't appear as expected, don't close off. Stay open, stay grateful. That redirection may lead to something far greater than your original vision. This is the secret gift of gratitude-based manifestation. Even when you don't get what you want, you discover what you need. It's a journey of continuous growth and self-discovery, a path leading to a more joyful, fulfilling, and meaningful life. Embark on this journey with open arms and a heart full of gratitude. The rewards are immeasurable. And just beyond the next moment of appreciation, a new chapter may already be writing itself. Chapter 13. Releasing limiting beliefs through gratitude. Our journey through gratitude's transformative potential has brought us to a pivotal threshold, the release of limiting beliefs. These quiet, persistent thoughts, embedded deep within, often operate unnoticed, shaping the edges of what we allow ourselves to receive. They whisper doubt. They question worth. They slow the flow of abundance. But here's what's equally true. The practice of gratitude holds the power to dissolve these invisible chains. And it all begins with a choice, to look inward and to gently question what we've long accepted as true. Your mind is a garden, and somewhere along the way, seeds of fear, inadequacy, and doubt were planted. Not maliciously, just unconsciously. And over time, those seeds grew into thorny beliefs. I can't. I won't. I'll never be enough. But gratitude is sunlight, it's rain. It softens the soil and makes room for something new. The first step in releasing limiting beliefs is naming them. Shine a light into your mental corners. What's been repeating in the background? I'm not worthy. I'll never have enough. It's too late for me. Write these down. Let them lose power as they exit your mind and land on the page. And as soon as they're written, something subtle shifts. The story starts to lose its grip. Now pause. Don't attack these beliefs. Don't judge them. They were strategies once, attempts at safety, belonging, control. Understand them. Thank them for what they tried to protect. Then invite something better. This is where gratitude enters. It doesn't replace limiting beliefs with hollow affirmations. It transforms them from the inside out. For every limiting belief, speak the opposite, and then feel the gratitude as if it's already true. For I'm not good enough, affirm, I am enough, I am capable, I am already becoming who I need to be. Feel thankful for the gifts you already carry. Let that thankfulness reinforce the truth beneath the fear. And each seed, if watered with presence and thankfulness, begins to grow in ways you never expected. Let's get practical. Try this process. 1. Identify a limiting belief. Choose one that feels like it's shaping your current life. Be honest. Be specific. 2. Express gratitude for the opposite. List 3 to 5 truths that challenge it. If the belief is I'm financially unstable, write, I'm grateful for food in my kitchen. I'm grateful for the skills I'm developing. I'm grateful for past opportunities that helped me grow. 3. Create and use an affirmation. Craft a sentence that embodies the new belief. Make it resonate. Say it often. Say it with gratitude. Feel it settle into your nervous system. 4. Visualize with gratitude. Close your eyes and see the new belief playing out. Feel it in your body. Feel the thankfulness for that new reality already unfolding. 5. Journal the process. Track your experiences. Reflect on shifts, however subtle. This cements your growth and builds trust in the path. The transformation won't happen overnight, but what unfolds gradually is often far more lasting. You'll still hear the old voices sometimes. That's okay. When they return, thank them too. Thank them for the lesson. Then return your attention to what you're building now. Be kind to yourself. You're unlearning a lifetime of conditioning. Let's bring this into the real world. Example 1. Overcoming fear of failure. Old belief, I always mess things up. Gratitude focus. I'm thankful for the times I got back up. I'm grateful for what those mistakes taught me. Affirmation, I grow through every challenge. I rise again and again. Visualize, see yourself succeeding. Hear the applause, feel the pride and the gratitude. Example 2. Releasing self-doubt in relationships. Old belief, I'm not lovable. Gratitude focus, I'm grateful for the kindness of my friends. I'm grateful for my open heart. I'm grateful for the love I give freely. Affirmation, I am worthy of deep love, and it flows to me naturally. Visualize, feel yourself embraced, seen, cherished. Let gratitude anchor the moment. Example 3. Transforming beliefs about finances. Old belief, I never have enough. Gratitude focus, I'm thankful for my resourcefulness. I'm thankful I've always made it this far. I'm thankful for opportunities I couldn't have predicted. Affirmation, abundance flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. Visualize, see money arriving, bills paid, joy rising, and say thank you, thank you, thank you. The process of releasing limiting beliefs through gratitude is not about erasing negative thoughts entirely. It's about shifting your focus, replacing negative narratives with empowering affirmations, and creating a new energetic landscape where abundance and positivity flourish. By nurturing a consistent practice of gratitude, you cultivate a fertile ground for growth, replacing self-doubt with self-love, fear with courage, and lack with abundance. This transformation isn't just a mental exercise, it's a profound shift in your energetic signature, aligning you with the frequency of your desires and manifesting a reality that reflects your truest potential. And in that reflection, something surprising may emerge. Your truest self, finally unbound. Embrace this journey of self-discovery with an open heart and a spirit filled with boundless gratitude. The rewards are immeasurable, leading you to a life of greater fulfillment, joy, and profound inner peace. Chapter 14. Visualization and Gratitude. Building upon the foundation of releasing limiting beliefs through gratitude, we now step into a space where the unseen begins to take shape. The synergistic power of visualization and gratitude. Together, these two practices act not just as tools, but as forces. When combined, they amplify your energetic resonance and accelerate your alignment with what you desire. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's the architecture of transformation. But the moment you combine emotion with imagery, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Think of your mind as sculptor's clay, soft and receptive. Visualization gives it form, gratitude then fires it, hardening it into the shape of reality. These two forces create a feedback loop, energizing each other, sending powerful signals outward and inward, until something begins to shift. The science supports this. Visualization activates the same neurological pathways as actual experience. When you imagine success vividly, your brain releases dopamine and endorphins, rewiring you toward it. And gratitude. Gratitude soothes the nervous system, opening the gateway for manifestation to flow through calm and coherence. And when your brain begins to believe what your heart already feels, that's when things begin to move. Let's explore the process through guided inner imagery. Find a quiet space where distractions fade. Sit or lie down with intention. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Feel your body softening, your awareness gathering inward. Bring into your mind a specific desire, not a vague hope, but something vivid and defined. Replace "I want more" with "I feel the joy of a fulfilling life." Replace "I want wealth" with "I experience the freedom of financial abundance." Now engage your senses. See it, hear it, touch it, smell it. Imagine your new home, the scent of coffee, the light on the walls, the warmth of safety. Imagine radiant health, the strength in your limbs, the energy in your breath, the lightness of movement. Now feel the emotion. Is it joy, peace, excitement? Let it rise. Let it color your entire internal landscape. The stronger you feel it, the more powerfully you signal your intention to the universe. Now bring in gratitude. Feel thankful for the steps you've already taken. Thank your past self for being brave. Thank your present for what it's providing. Thank the future, already in motion. And when those two forces, emotion and thankfulness, merge, something begins to shift in ways that aren't always visible at first. Now embody the end result. Feel the deep contentment of already having your desire. This isn't arrogance, it's resonance. You're telling your subconscious, "This is who I am now." Let this state expand for 5 to 10 minutes. Stay in the feeling. Let it imprint itself on your body and mind. When ready, gently open your eyes, but bring the feeling with you. Repeat this daily, especially when doubt arises, especially when the outer world looks unchanged, because the shift begins within. Let's anchor this with real-world examples. Example 1. Career advancement. Visualize your ideal role. Picture the desk, the team, the projects. Hear the conversations. Feel the confidence. Express gratitude for your skills, your growth, your opportunities, past and future. Example 2. Health and wellness. Visualize your vibrant body. Feel strength, movement, energy. Gratitude for breath, for mobility, for resilience. Gratitude for every cell working to restore and renew you. Example 3. Abundance and prosperity. See yourself surrounded by ease, freedom, resources, gratitude for your talents, for your value, for the abundance already circulating around you. And as you continue this process, you may begin to notice the external starts to shift in response to the internal. Remember, this is not passive. Visualization and gratitude are acts of creation. The more you engage them, the more you shape your reality. But there's more. Start weaving this into daily life. Don't just say, "I'm grateful," feel it. Let it soak into your bones. Let it rise in small moments. Enjoying a meal. Feel gratitude for the soil, the hands, the nourishment. Spending time with a loved one. Feel gratitude for the laughter, the connection, the moment. Noticing a breeze, a flower, a quiet sunrise. Let it wash over you. And it's in these ordinary moments that something extraordinary takes root. This way, gratitude becomes not just a practice, but a presence. And your visualizations, fueled by this deep presence, become far more than fantasy. They become magnetic blueprints, guiding your subconscious and your vibration toward the life you're calling in. This is the art and science of creation, a continuous unfolding, a dance between clarity and surrender, imagination and emotion, intention and trust. Embrace it fully. Practice with joy. Let the process shape you even as it shapes your world. And who knows, tomorrow's miracles may already be forming in today's moments of silent thanks. Chapter 15. The role of intention in gratitude-based manifestation. Now that we've explored the potent synergy between visualization and gratitude, we arrive at a vital, often underemphasized element: intention. Gratitude is the fuel. Yes, but intention is the steering wheel. It's what gives your energetic alignment precision, anchoring your desire into form. And without direction, how can the universe possibly respond? Intention is not casual hoping. It is a conscious, focused act, a declaration of energetic alignment with your desired outcome. It's rooted not in fantasy, but in trust, not in vague longing, but in the quiet certainty that what you desire is already on its way. When intention is pure, felt, and embodied, It doesn't just inform your thoughts, it rewires your subconscious and broadcasts a frequency the universe can't ignore. And once that blueprint is accepted, remarkable shifts can begin to unfold. So how do you create intention with power? It starts with clarity. Vague wishes dissipate, specificity sticks. I want to be happy becomes, I feel joyful and connected in a loving partnership where we laugh often and support each other's dreams. I want success becomes, I lead a mission-driven company that empowers innovation and uplifts lives. Make your vision sensory-rich. What do you see, hear, touch, taste, smell? The more vividly you immerse yourself in the experience, the more deeply your subconscious accepts it as real. Because the moment you fully feel it, your energy begins to shift in subtle, irreversible ways. Once your intention is crystal clear, write it down. This physical act bridges thought into form. Use present tense language, not I will, but I am, I have, I feel. These phrases convince your subconscious that the outcome is already true. Say it aloud, let your voice resonate with belief. Speak not from desperation, but from certainty. This verbal resonance reinforces your energetic frequency, aligning your field with the vibration of your vision. Now infuse that intention with gratitude. Gratitude isn't an accessory here. It's the soul of the process. Be grateful not just for what's coming, but for everything that's already supporting you. Be grateful for the contrast, the delays, the learning, the refinement. Gratitude turns obstacles into allies and uncertainty into trust. And when gratitude floods the path beneath your feet, every step begins to feel lighter. Make this a daily practice. Start a gratitude intention journal. Each day, reflect on one small step you took, one internal shift you noticed, one person who supported you. Be grateful for what's here and for what's still forming. Even when doubts arise, as they will, meet them not with panic, but with presence. Intend again. Give thanks again. Repeat gently, consistently. Your signal will remain strong. Now let's explore 3 techniques to help you integrate this more deeply. Exercise 1. The Intention Setting Meditation. Find stillness. Close your eyes. Breathe. Inhale clarity. Exhale tension. Bring your intention to mind. See it clearly. Feel it deeply. Now add gratitude for the path, for the resources, for the becoming. Let this fusion of vision and thankfulness vibrate in your body. Stay with it. 5 minutes, more if you can. Exercise 2. The Gratitude Affirmation. Create a single potent affirmation. Example, I am grateful for the flow of prosperity enriching every area of my life. Speak it aloud with emotion. Morning, midday, night, in front of a mirror, before you sleep. Let the words become part of you. Exercise 3. The Vision Board. Build a sacred visual space. Include images, words, symbols that embody your intention. Place it where you'll see it daily. Each glance becomes a silent prayer, a signal sent, a promise felt, gratitude woven into every image, every inch. And as your vision board becomes a reflection of your inner clarity, watch for the external signs that begin to mirror it back. Because manifestation is not force, it's resonance. It's not about grasping or begging, but about aligning yourself with what already exists in potential form. Intention gives it direction. Gratitude gives it momentum. Stay the course, be patient, trust the timing. The most beautiful outcomes often take root in silence before they bloom in form. Your part is to stay clear, stay open, stay thankful. Chapter 16. Guided Gratitude Meditation for Beginners. Let's embark on a journey, not just into the stillness of the present, but into a felt experience of gratitude. A return not only to the breath, but to the beauty woven into everyday life. We've uncovered the connection between intention, visualization, and gratitude, a trinity of transformation. Now it's time to embody this awareness through a simple, powerful practice. A guided gratitude meditation. This is not esoteric, it's not complicated. It's an invitation anyone can accept. And with each breath, you may find yourself stepping into something far deeper than expected. First, let's clear up a common myth. Meditation isn't about silencing the mind. It's not about eliminating thought. It's about learning to observe, to allow, with grace. Thoughts, like clouds, will come and go. The goal isn't to stop them, but to return to the present, to the breath, and here, to gratitude. So let's begin. Find a quiet space, one where you feel safe, undisturbed. Sit comfortably, spine gently aligned. Let your posture support you without tension. You may sit on a cushion, in a chair, or even lie down. Just be mindful of your awareness. Once settled, softly close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Slowly exhale. Again, let your attention anchor to the rhythm of your breathing. Feel the rise and fall, air moving in, air moving out. Let your breath be your entrance into this moment, and as your breath settles into rhythm, notice how your awareness begins to shift, gently, quietly. Begin to scan your body. Notice the tension, the discomfort. You don't need to fix it. Just notice. Acknowledge. And as you exhale, imagine the breath soothing those places, like warm light dissolving tightness. Each breath, a balm. Now bring your attention to the center of your chest, your heart space. Imagine a gentle glow there. A warm golden light, soft, radiant, expanding with every breath. This light is gratitude. Let your awareness drift to one simple thing you're grateful for. It doesn't need to be profound. The softness of the chair, the rhythm of your breath, the air around you. Let that gratitude grow. Feel it, not as a thought but as a sensation. Let the feeling expand outward, into your chest, your limbs, your skin. Now invite more. Think of your loved ones, a pater, a memory, the roof above you, a small kindness, a sunrise. As you touch each one, feel the warmth of gratitude move through you, infusing each breath. Let your body become a vessel for appreciation. As you continue to meditate, thoughts may come. Let them, watch them like passing birds. Then gently, kindly, return to the breath and to gratitude. And the more you return to this feeling, the more you strengthen its hold. Not just in the session, but in your daily life. If it feels right, extend your gratitude outward, beyond the personal, to the earth beneath you, to the warmth of the sun, to the universe itself, holding you in an unseen web of support. Not as dogma, but as a quiet recognition of interconnectedness. Now reflect on your journey, not just today, but through your life. Think of the challenges, the obstacles, the times that tested you, and now, give thanks for what they taught you, for the strength you didn't know you had, for the wisdom they left behind. Express gratitude for the path, for the timing, for the growth. Think of the quiet miracles, a smile from a stranger, a chance encounter, a moment of peace when you needed it most. Let gratitude wrap around those memories, and perhaps, as your awareness grows, you'll notice those small miracles were never so small after all. Remain here for 10 to 15 minutes. Let the sensation of gratitude flood your cells. Let it rise in your breath. Let it linger in your stillness. When you feel ready, take a deep breath in. Slowly exhale, gently bring awareness back to the room. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. When your eyes open, let them open softly. And carry this feeling with you. This isn't a one-time event. The true gift of gratitude meditation reveals itself over time. Even 5 minutes a day, repeated consistently, will begin to shift your awareness. You'll notice more beauty, more softness, more joy. And it's in that gradual shift that the real transformation begins. Quietly, steadily from within. Science affirms it. Gratitude activates pleasure circuits in the brain. It rewires patterns toward optimism and resilience. Over time, it shapes your mind, your mood, your health. The benefits stretch into your relationships, your decisions, your ability to experience peace, even when life is uncertain. So be gentle with yourself, be curious. Let this practice become a daily companion, a space of refuge and renewal. The world will still move quickly, but this practice will help you move slowly enough to see the good that was always there. So embrace the practice, be patient with yourself, and allow the gentle power of gratitude to transform your life. Your journey of gratitude is unique. Embrace its intricacies and let it be your guiding light on the path to inner peace and joy. This path is not solely about accumulating material possessions or achieving external milestones. It's a quest for inner transformation, aligning your energy with a state of constant thankfulness and thus opening a space where opportunities, health, and happiness can effortlessly flourish. Begin now and let the universe unfold its blessings before you. And as you take your next step forward, notice what blessings might already be unfolding around you. Chapter 17, Gratitude Journaling Prompts. Now that we've anchored the practice of gratitude meditation, let's turn to another powerful ally on your path of transformation. Gratitude journaling. More than a routine of lists or daily checkboxes, journaling is an invitation, a gentle descent into self-awareness, a space where your thoughts soften, unfold, and take form on the page. This is where gratitude becomes personal, tangible, sacred, and the more you return to that space, the more it begins to feel like home. Unlike rigid techniques or forced reflections, gratitude journaling is inherently flexible. It welcomes imperfection. You are not writing for approval or applause. You are writing to deepen your connection with life itself. Each word becomes a step further into the sacred garden of your inner world. Let these prompts guide you, not as commandments, but as invitations. Adapt them, expand on them, let them lead you down unexpected pathways. And above all, write from the heart, with honesty, curiosity, and kindness. Prompt 1. The 3 Things Prompt. Begin your day by listing 3 things you are grateful for. They may be profound or simple: the warmth of morning sunlight, a smile from someone you love, or the smell of coffee. Let your senses speak. What did you touch, hear, see, smell, or feel? The more vividly you recall it, the more your brain rewires itself to remember joy. Prompt 2. The Relationship Reflection. Choose someone meaningful in your life. Reflect on their presence. What do they bring to your world? Explore the obvious gifts, yes, but also the quiet ones, the way they make space for you, the way they see you. Recall one memory in detail and let gratitude swell around it as you relive it through the page. Prompt 3. The Unexpected Blessing. Think of a time when life surprised you, a seeming setback that transformed into a blessing, a closed door that revealed a better one. What changed because of that challenge? What strength emerged in you? Reflect on the resilience that surfaced. Let gratitude rise, not just for the outcome, but for the journey. Prompt 4. The Abundance Exercise. Shift your lens from lack to what already surrounds you. List your resources, tangible and intangible, your breath, your knowledge, your relationships, your creativity, your ability to begin again. Let this be an act of remembering just how much you already have and how much you are already becoming. Prompt 5. The Body Scan of Gratitude. Close your eyes, feel your toes, your legs, your back, your breath. As you scan each part, write what you're thankful for: your feet that carry you, your lungs that breathe, your heart that beats without asking for thanks. Let gratitude rise for this living vessel, imperfect perhaps, yet miraculous in its constant service to your life. Prompt 6. The Future-Focused Gratitude. Now look ahead, not with longing, but with belief. Visualize a dream realized. Describe it in the present tense. What does it feel like to live in that reality? Let your writing become a portal, a rehearsal for abundance. Anchor it in emotion. Say thank you as if it already is, because energetically it already is on its way. Prompt 7. The Forgiveness Prompt. Reflect on a person or moment that hurt you. Write not to relive pain, but to extract wisdom. What did you learn about boundaries, about strength, about yourself? Let gratitude alchemize the memory, not to erase the wound, but to honor the growth it catalyzed. Let forgiveness rise gently, wrapped in self-compassion. Prompt 8. The Nature's Embrace. Step outside, walk among trees, wind, earth. Let your senses guide your pen. The sound of leaves rustling, the feel of sun on skin, the scent of fresh air. Let nature speak through you, reminding you of cycles, of silence, of the unspoken support of the natural world. Gratitude here is not thought, it is presence. Prompt 9. The random act of kindness. Remember a moment, someone helped you or you helped someone. Reflect on the ripple effect of that kindness. What opened because of it? How did it change your day, your heart, your faith in humanity? Trace the web it wove. Let gratitude bloom for the unseen ways love travels and multiplies. Prompt 10. The daily reflection. At day's end, pause. Write one thing you are grateful for from today. Let this be your closing ritual, your way of saying, I was here, I noticed. Over time, this simple practice becomes a thread of light through your week, a quiet testament to presence and appreciation. And the more consistently you write, the more easily gratitude will begin to bloom. Quietly, but powerfully. There is no pressure here. You don't need poetic words or profound insights. You only need your truth. The act of journaling isn't about what's written. It's about what's remembered, what's felt, what's awakened. Make your journal a refuge, a mirror, a sacred space that reflects not just what life has given you, but who you are becoming. Let this practice remind you every day that even amidst uncertainty, beauty remains. Let your gratitude journal be a testament to the beauty and abundance present in your life, a celebration of the blessings both big and small, a daily reminder of the magic that unfolds when we approach life with a heart filled with thankfulness. And perhaps with each entry, you'll come to realize the magic was always there, waiting to be named. Chapter 18. Affirmations for Cultivating Gratitude. Now that we've planted the habit of gratitude journaling deep into your daily rhythm, let's explore another potent practice, one that reshapes not only how you speak, but how you feel, believe, and become. This is the power of affirmations. Affirmations are more than just words, they are incantations of becoming. Spoken truths meant to awaken deeper truths inside you. Each time you repeat a phrase that affirms gratitude, you're not just whispering a thought, you're installing a belief. And once those seeds take root, what grows may surprise you. From a scientific perspective, affirmations are powerful because they work with neuroplasticity, the brain's innate ability to rewire itself. Each time you speak a positive truth, each time you anchor yourself in appreciation, you carve a new groove in the mind. Over time, those grooves become pathways, and those pathways become highways. The result? You begin to think grateful thoughts automatically, even when life tests your patience. But for this to work, there's a key you must carry: emotion. Empty words echo, but words infused with feeling, with intention, belief, resonance, those words shift the very landscape of your being. So let's begin with crafting affirmations that aren't just true in theory, but true for you. Begin by choosing an area of life where you long to feel more thankful. Health, relationships, work, creativity, whatever comes forward, welcome it. From that space, shape a sentence that affirms what is already becoming true. And here's where the shift begins. Not with what's missing, but with what you choose to see as already fulfilled. If health is your focus, speak from the body's brilliance. I am deeply grateful for the energy that flows through me. I welcome each breath with thanks, knowing it sustains me. Even if your body is healing, let your words point toward wholeness. I honor the wisdom of my body as it restores itself. I am thankful for the resilience within me, unfolding day by day. If your heart longs for deeper connection, speak to the love you've given and received. I am grateful for the souls who walk beside me. I cherish the love that surrounds and supports me, seen and unseen. Let your words become a bridge, connecting you to presence, to people, to possibility. If your spirit seeks to acknowledge success and purpose, try. I celebrate the progress I've made and all I continue to become. My talents are gifts I am grateful to share with the world. These affirmations allow you to honor what is while opening to what's next. And for those sacred moments of awe in nature, I feel grateful for the beauty that whispers through every tree, every breeze. I am one with the earth, thankful for its quiet, constant presence. Each phrase becomes a breath, reconnecting you with the rhythm of the world around you. Once you've found the affirmations that resonate, the next step is to weave them into your life. Silently repeat them while brushing your teeth, walking the dog, driving, or preparing a meal. Write them in your journal, speak them aloud as you look into the mirror, or record your voice, calm, centered, sincere, and play it back during meditation. And the more you expose yourself to these words, the more they begin to echo within, long after they've been spoken. Repetition is powerful, but it's not just about frequency, it's about presence. Don't rush through your affirmations like a checklist. Speak them slowly and feel them as you do. Let the words sink below the surface, stirring something within. Visualization enhances this even further. As you repeat each affirmation, picture it in vivid detail. If you're affirming health, see yourself vibrant and energized. If you're affirming love, feel the warmth of a genuine hug. If you're affirming abundance, imagine the exact moment you realize you have more than enough. And somewhere in that synergy, gratitude becomes not just an emotion, but a way of being. Tuck your affirmations into the rituals you already practice. Say them during morning routines. Whisper them into your pillow before sleep. Let them ride on the breath during yoga or prayer. The more seamlessly they blend into your life, the more naturally they begin to take root. And remember, affirmations are not spells. They are not magic tricks. They are daily brushstrokes on the canvas of your mind. They shape your story, thought by thought, day by day. Be patient, be gentle, let them work quietly, just as seeds do, before they blossom in visible ways. As this practice deepens, you may begin to notice something unexpected. The way life starts to respond to your energy, the people who mirror your appreciation, the coincidences that align with your desires, the internal softening that opens the door to external change. And in time, what once felt distant may begin to feel inevitable. Gratitude expressed through affirmation also enhances relationships. When you speak from a place of appreciation, you radiate it. That radiance makes people feel safe, seen, valued. You become a source of warmth, and the warmth you offer often finds its way back. Above all, remember, this is a practice, not a performance. There will be days when the words feel forced, when gratitude seems far away. That's okay. Speak the words anyway, not as a demand, but as a reminder. Let them gently realign your focus, like a compass pointing home. Each affirmation you speak becomes a subtle act of returning to what is true, returning to what is good, returning to yourself. So begin again, today. Speak gently, listen closely, and let your words become the path to everything you've been searching for. And just when you think you've reached the destination, you may discover it was only the beginning. Chapter 19, Gratitude, Walks and Nature Connection. Now let's step beyond the walls of home and the pages of your journal, into the living, breathing sanctuary of the natural world. Imagine sunlight brushing your skin, a breeze carrying the scent of pine, the sound of leaves whispering as they dance above. These moments, often bypassed in our hurried lives, hold a kind of sacred medicine, quietly waiting to awaken something ancient in you, the voice of gratitude. And sometimes it's in the quietest moments outdoors that the loudest gratitude begins to speak. Nature's healing power is well documented. Lower cortisol, steadier heartbeat, stronger immunity. But science only scratches the surface. Nature is more than medicine. It's a mirror, a reminder, a reconnection. With every tree, every bird, every breath of wind, something within you begins to remember a kind of awe, and that awe invites appreciation. This is where the gratitude walk begins. Not just a stroll, but a conscious practice. A merging of movement, mindfulness, and heart. Before stepping outside, pause, close your eyes, breathe, set an intention. Today I will notice 5 things I can be grateful for. Let this promise guide your senses. Let it open your awareness. As your feet begin to move, allow your senses to guide you. Look not just at, but into. Hear not just sound, but rhythm. Smell not just air, but life. The sunlight warming your skin, the ground supporting your steps, the birds calling above. Each sensation offers an opening to gratitude. And as your senses awaken, something deeper within you often begins to stir. Don't just pass by that tree. Notice its bark, rough, textured, ancient, the way sunlight dances on its leaves, the strength in its stillness. Feel gratitude for its role, sheltering, purifying, standing. This is not a tree, this is a presence. Pause by a flower, really see it. The delicacy of its petals, its unapologetic color, its invitation to look closer. Let yourself feel gratitude for its beauty, for its brief and brilliant life. Listen to the birds, not just their song but their freedom, their knowing, their place in a vast unseen ecosystem. Let gratitude arise, not only for their existence, but for your capacity to witness them. And what about the earth beneath you? Each step is met with support, each movement grounded. The soil, the roots, the pulse of the planet, all working in quiet harmony. Let your gratitude extend downward into the unseen networks that sustain life. Throughout your walk, actively seek the miraculous. It might be the shimmer of dew on a blade of grass, the scent of rain-soaked leaves, a butterfly's path, a stranger's smile, your own breath, the rhythm of your heartbeat. The very fact that you are here, alive, walking, noticing. Don't just observe, participate, let yourself feel it. Don't underestimate the power of small things. A tiny acorn, the spiral on a shell, a breeze that pauses time. The more you notice, the more you'll discover. And the more you discover, the more grateful you become, not as an idea, but as a lived sensation. And the more you notice, the more there is to notice, layer after hidden layer revealing itself. You may wish to enhance your walk with spoken or silent affirmations. Try phrases like, I am grateful for the harmony around me. I give thanks for this quiet peace. I am part of this beauty. Or take brief pauses to jot down what you observe. Capture a detail, a feeling, a line of thought. Let your walk become a moving meditation and your notes a record of presence. Consistency deepens the transformation. Set aside 30 minutes daily. Same path or different, it doesn't matter. What matters is the rhythm, the returning. Choose a time when the world feels soft. Dawn, dusk, let it be your ritual. Mindfulness amplifies this even further. Notice your body, the sway of your arms, the contact of your feet, the cadence of your breath. When thoughts arise, let them pass like birds overhead. Then return to the earth, the air, the moment. Don't be afraid to explore. Vary your terrain, wander, revisit. Let new trails surprise you. Let familiar ones teach you again. Nature never repeats herself, and neither will your gratitude. Remember, the goal is not to feel grateful. The goal is to practice noticing, to open. Some days will be flooded with appreciation, others may feel quieter. Both are perfect, both are part of the path. And in the unfolding, often quietly, unexpectedly, comes a shift that stays with you long after the walk ends. You may also find joy in other nature-based rituals. Gardening, bird-watching, cloud-gazing, sitting still under a tree. Each is an invitation to slow down, to listen, and to feel thankful. Ultimately, a gratitude walk is not about counting blessings. It's about stepping into a state of relationship with the land, the air, the sky, and yourself. It's about remembering your place in the web of things, and in that remembering, finding not only peace, but power. You begin to see differently, feel differently, live differently. This practice rewires your nervous system, softens your thoughts, steadies your emotions. It invites you back to a place you never really left, but may have forgotten, the present. And within the present, gratitude lives effortlessly. And as you step back into your day, don't be surprised if the world looks just a little more radiant than before. Chapter 20. Incorporating gratitude into daily routines. Now that we've explored the powerful resonance of gratitude within nature, let's gently bring this practice into the very fabric of everyday life, not as something extra to do, but as something you naturally become. The kind of presence that hums quietly beneath the surface of each moment, like a river running steadily underground. And once that current takes hold, it begins to carry you in surprising ways. Contrary to popular belief, cultivating gratitude doesn't require grand rituals or sweeping declarations. In fact, it's far more powerful when woven seamlessly into the small, familiar rhythms of your day. Think of it as an inner posture, soft, open, receptive, one that gently turns ordinary routines into sacred rituals of appreciation. Let's begin with what already exists. Your routines. The act of eating, for example, such a simple necessity, and yet, what a sacred opportunity it holds. Before each meal, pause, breathe, and allow your awareness to drift, if only for a few seconds, to the hands that harvested the food, to the rain that nourished the soil, to the sun that made it grow. Think of the invisible web of life that brought it here, to your plate, to your body, to this very moment. Let that acknowledgement bloom into appreciation, not just for the food, but for the body receiving it, the system digesting it, the energy becoming you. Now let's step back, to the moment before your day truly begins. Before your feet even touch the ground, rest in that space between sleep and waking. Feel the warmth of your bed, the safety of shelter, the miracle of breath. And with eyes still closed, whisper silently to yourself, "Thank you. For this body, for this chance, for another day of being." And sometimes, those first few moments of the morning set the tone for everything that follows. Now shift your gaze outward. Who are the people in your life that hold space for you? Loved ones, friends, mentors, even strangers whose brief kindness lingered longer than expected. Let your heart reach out to them in thought, not with obligation, but with a quiet, sincere sense of thank you. Allow that warmth to settle into your chest. Let it shape the way you speak, move, and meet the world. Then, at the end of the day, just before the lights go out, there's another invitation. Let the final minutes before sleep become a gentle review of grace. Not a checklist, not a performance, just a soft return to the highlights. A smile, a good meal, a moment of laughter, a peaceful breath. Let each memory be a flame, small, flickering, beautiful. Let them warm you as you drift, and as that warmth fills you, it begins to linger long after your eyes close. Even the often dreaded commute can become a portal to presence. Instead of bracing against the noise or resenting the delays, shift. What can you be thankful for? The music in your headphones? The fact that you're moving? The job waiting for you, or the one you're creating? These subtle changes don't take more time. They just require a different kind of attention. And the more often you shift that lens, the more natural the view becomes. Now let's talk about consistency. Not perfection, but rhythm. Make gratitude a non-negotiable part of your day, the way brushing your teeth is. Create pockets of reflection. Morning, noon, night. Set reminders if needed. Anchor it to meals, to coffee breaks, to stepping outside. The more regularly you return to it, the more familiar it becomes. Eventually, it won't feel like something you do. It'll feel like who you are. And what if you forget? What if a day slips by unnoticed? Let that be okay. Let that be part of the path. No shame, no guilt, just a gentle return. A soft whisper. Start again. Every moment is a door. The practice is not about never missing. It's about always returning. And those moments of forgetting, they often lead to even more meaningful remembering. Gratitude is not a fixed destination. It's a moving current, an evolving relationship with life itself. Some days, the river flows fast and deep. Other days, it's a trickle. That's okay. Your job is to keep showing up, to keep stepping into the stream. Adapt this to your own life. You don't need to follow anyone else's script. Maybe your practice is 5 minutes of writing, or a single sentence whispered before bed, or a moment of stillness while washing your hands. Follow your rhythm, trust your intuition. There are countless ways to embody this. You can write daily entries in a gratitude journal. List 5 blessings each night. Speak affirmations out loud. Meditate on a single word. Or express appreciation through action, acts of service, kind words, generous silence. Mix and match. Let your practice be playful, alive, evolving. Engage your senses. Let the warmth of tea remind you of comfort. Let the softness of a blanket invite thanks for safety. Let birdsong bring joy. Let fresh air bring relief. Gratitude lives in the body as much as it does in the mind. And in doing so, you'll find that gratitude is not just a practice. It becomes your lens, your language, your way of being. Embrace what surprises you. Some days, you'll feel grateful for beauty. Other days, for pain, for endings, for beginnings, for uncertainty. These too are teachers. Even hardship contains the seeds of transformation. When you learn to give thanks anyway, you step into something sacred. Ultimately, this is about building a new relationship with life, one where you train your eyes to see what's already good, one where you shift from "why me" to "thank you," from craving to contentment, from grasping to grace. This is how gratitude changes everything, not all at once, but slowly, rhythmically, unshakably. And the beauty, once seen, once truly felt, tends to multiply. Chapter 21. Overcoming Depression Through Gratitude. The gentle hum of sunlight filtering through the gap in the curtains was once a quiet torment for Eleanor, a soft but relentless reminder that another day had arrived. Another stretch of hours she felt unworthy of, ill-equipped to face, burdened by a sadness that clung to her like damp wool. Depression had become her shadow, her silent passenger, her constant weight. Each morning felt like scaling an invisible mountain, one she could never quite reach the top of. And then, in a quiet session one Tuesday afternoon, her therapist, Dr. Anya Sharma, offered something Eleanor didn't expect: gratitude. It sounded laughably simple, almost naive. And yet, something in her, however faint, leaned forward to listen. That flicker, barely a breath, was more powerful than it seemed. The first weeks were a quiet war. Eleanor wrote in her journal, mostly out of obligation. A roof over my head. Food in the fridge. The words felt flat, mechanical. She didn't feel grateful, she felt hollow. Her inner voice, soaked in years of self-doubt, scoffed at the practice. This is pointless. Nothing will change. You'll always feel this way. But Dr. Sharma, with a gentle steadiness, guided her onward. Gratitude, she said softly, doesn't wait for joy to arrive. It creates the space where joy is allowed to return. She asked Eleanor to look not for the grand but for the small, the overlooked, the moments that quietly endured, even on the hardest days. And one morning, staring blankly out her kitchen window, Eleanor saw it. A robin hopping across the lawn. Just a bird. Ordinary, but something about the way it moved, the lightness in its body, the determination in its tiny stride, pulled her out of the fog, if only for a moment. She wrote, "The robin, cheerful, alive, moving forward." And just like that, a crack appeared in the walls she thought would never break. Over time, Eleanor's practice became less of a task and more of a rhythm. She started noticing the warm press of sunlight on her forearm, the scent of coffee before she sipped, the unexpected kindness in a stranger's smile. These moments weren't fixes, they were flickers. But flickers, repeated, can become fire. And when the fire is kindled gently, it begins to soften even the coldest rooms. She started recognizing the love in her life, not as a debt to repay or a favor undeserved, but as something quietly present. A neighbor's help, her sister's check-in call, the friend who waited in silence when words felt too heavy. It wasn't a straight line. There were dark days, sometimes darker than she expected. But unlike before, she had a rope to hold onto, a way back. When the weight pressed too heavily, she'd wrap herself in her blanket, sip her tea, and, through clenched effort, find one thing, one moment, one sliver of light. And those slivers, stacked together, began to resemble something close to hope. As her gratitude deepened, Eleanor's body responded. Her headaches, once daily, eased. Her digestion calmed. Her sleep grew steadier, less interrupted. She smiled more, not because everything was perfect, but because not everything had to be. And deep inside, something else was shifting. Not visible on charts, not measurable in data, but felt unmistakably in the marrow of her being. Dr. Sharma observed the transformation with quiet joy. "You're not becoming someone new," she told her. "You're uncovering someone that's always been there. Gratitude isn't changing who you are, it's reminding you who you've always been." And the remembering became its own kind of healing. The science supported what Eleanor was living. By focusing on what she had rather than what she lacked, her brain began forming new connections, healthier ones. Gratitude activated areas of the brain associated with pleasure and empathy. Slowly, almost invisibly, those new patterns began to override the old ones, the ones soaked in shame and despair. It wasn't a replacement for therapy or medication, it was a partner, a scaffold, something to lean on when the work felt too heavy. And as she leaned, she discovered she could also rise. Gratitude became her daily medicine, not a cure, but a companion, something she returned to again and again, not to fix her, but to remind her that she wasn't broken. Her story is not a fairy tale, it's not instant or magical, it's human, honest, real, and in its realness lies its power. Because Eleanor's recovery wasn't about eliminating pain, it was about reclaiming perspective, about building a practice that reconnected her to the world, one breath at a time, one robin, one ray of light. And in that world, she rediscovered something she never expected, herself. Dr. Sharma continues to share Eleanor's journey with others, not as a prescription, but as a possibility. Gratitude won't solve everything, she says, but it softens the edges. It builds bridges between today and tomorrow. It reminds the heart that something good is always quietly waiting to be noticed. Because sometimes healing begins not with a breakthrough, but with a shift. A quiet noticing, a returning, a whisper that says, "This too matters." Eleanor still journals. Not every day, not perfectly, but regularly. She still watches the robin outside her window, and sometimes she smiles, because she remembers how that tiny bird opened the first door. The door to her own aliveness. The door to a gratitude so steady, it carried her home. And what she learned above all else was this: the light had never left. It was only waiting for her to look in its direction. Chapter 22. Healing from Trauma with Gratitude. Sarah clutched the photograph, its corners softened by years of wear. In the image, a younger version of herself beamed, arms linked with her family at a sun-drenched picnic. You could almost hear the laughter, almost feel the warmth. But for Sarah, the joy frozen in that image felt as distant as a forgotten dream. The years that followed the photo had not been kind. Emotional abuse, neglect, and the lingering ache of unworthiness had etched themselves deep into her nervous system. She wore those years like armor, heavy, suffocating, and hard to take off. And yet, beneath even the heaviest weight, something softer waits to rise. Therapy had helped, slowly peeling back layers of numbness and pain. But something remained, a bitter ember that still burned in her chest, fueling thoughts she wanted to release but didn't know how. Her therapist, Dr. Emilia Reyes, offered a practice that sounded almost naive. Gratitude. To Sarah, it felt like putting a daisy on a battlefield. Gratitude, Dr. Reyes said gently, isn't about denying the hurt. It's about restoring balance. It's creating space, within the pain, for something else to live. At first, Sarah resisted. How could she feel grateful for anything with such a history behind her? She scribbled dutifully in a journal. Warm bed. Food in the fridge. But her pen scratched like protest. The words felt hollow, even dishonest. And that old voice, sharp and familiar, insisted, "You're invalidating your pain. You don't get to feel grateful." But healing doesn't begin with the loudest voice. Sometimes it begins with a whisper, asking what else might be true. Dr. Reyes helped her gently widen her lens. Gratitude is like a muscle, she explained. You don't need to lift heavy. Just lift something. Consistently. Sarah began to look for something, anything, that felt less like pain. A smile from the grocery clerk, the rhythmic purring of her cat on her lap, the sound of rain tapping against her bedroom window, tiny moments, tiny cracks in the wall she'd built to survive. And through those cracks, light began to flicker in. Then came a day, unlike the others. Sarah picked up the photograph again. But this time, she didn't ache. She didn't focus on what came after. Instead, she looked into her own eyes. Young, vibrant, and felt something surprising, gratitude. Not for what happened next, but for what had been. For a single moment of joy captured forever, for evidence that joy had once lived in her body, and might again. It wasn't linear. Some days the bitterness returned like a cold wind, but now Sarah had something to hold on to, something warm. On the hard days she returned to the basics, not as a dismissal of her pain, but as an anchor. She wrote, warm socks, the smell of cinnamon, a roof, a breath, a chance. These weren't just words anymore, they were lifelines, and one lifeline at a time. The distance between drowning and breathing got smaller. Gratitude softened something in her, made it easier to forgive herself, to stop carrying blame that was never hers to hold. She saw that survival itself was a kind of miracle, and slowly she began to see herself not as broken, but as whole, with scars, yes, but whole nonetheless. The changes rippled outward. Her body began to respond. Chronic tension in her neck eased, headaches faded, sleep deepened. Her digestion, once erratic and tight, began to stabilize. It was as if her body finally felt safe enough to heal, because her heart had given it permission. And somewhere along the way, her identity shifted, from victim to witness, from surviving to rising. Dr. Reyes supported this evolution with care. She encouraged Sarah to re-engage with life through painting, yoga, time in nature, and through connection, not just with people she trusted, but with herself, with that younger version in the photograph, with the version that had survived, with the version that was slowly starting to thrive. Sarah realized something beautiful. She wasn't rebuilding alone. She was being held, witnessed, supported by the universe in small, quiet ways she had once overlooked. A synchronistic text, a song playing at just the right moment, a breath that felt easier than the last, and in that realization, something bloomed, a sense of worth that no longer needed permission to exist. Her story became proof that gratitude is not some pastel-colored band-aid for real pain. It's not a spiritual bypass. It's a tool, a mirror, a key. When wielded with patience and self-compassion, it doesn't erase the trauma, but it rewrites the relationship to it. The photo, once a reminder of what was lost, became a symbol of what remained, and what could return. It reminded her joy wasn't gone, it had just been waiting for a safer place to land, and she was becoming that place. There is no one-size-fits-all timeline for healing, but gratitude creates movement. It softens edges. It changes the emotional climate from storm to stillness, from bitter to brave, from fractured to forming. Sarah's journey is still unfolding, but now she moves through life with a tool she once doubted. Gratitude didn't cure her trauma, it taught her to live with it more gently, to breathe inside it, to find light within the shadow, and once light is found, even in one breath, one moment, it never fully disappears. So if you, like Sarah, carry a weight you're still learning how to name, know this: there's room for both the grief and the gratitude. There's space for healing. There's still time to rewrite the story. And sometimes the next chapter begins with the softest line. I'm thankful that I made it this far. Chapter 23. Improving Relationships with Gratitude. The healing power of gratitude didn't stop with Sarah's internal transformation. It began to ripple outward, touching the delicate web of her relationships. One strand in particular had frayed with time, her connection with her sister, Emily. Their relationship had long been strained. A quiet, cold war marked by unresolved tension, conflicting life paths, and an archive of words unsaid. Years of distance and divergence had built an invisible wall between them, and for the longest time, Sarah had assumed the damage was irreversible. But sometimes, even the widest chasms can be bridged if you take that first step with a softened heart. Gratitude, though, came first not as a bridge, but as a key. Not to open the door to Emily, but to open the door within Sarah, the one that had long since locked out warmth in that direction. At first, she couldn't summon much. The old stories were louder, memories painted in conflict, not closeness. But with Dr. Reyes's gentle guidance, she began to look again. Not at the pain, but at the nuance. She began to notice, and note, Emily's unshakable sense of humor, the way she could break tension with a single sarcastic line. She remembered the strength it must have taken for Emily to raise her family with such fierce dedication. And even if those paths had taken them away from each other, Something in that recognition softened the edges. And that softening? That was where the change began. Gratitude, once merely a word on a page, became an active lens. Sarah started to reframe, not to rewrite the past, but to re-see it. To see Emily not as the antagonist in her narrative, but as another human being, shaped by her own struggles, her own fears, her own longing for love and belonging. She started with a simple gesture, a phone call, not to fix things, not to talk it all out, just to say thank you. For a memory, a shared laugh from years ago, an inside joke about their childhood dog. The call was brief, stilted, but something shifted, not just in words, but in tone, in energy. There was space again, space for connection, space for something new. And where space exists, life has a way of growing into it. She followed that with a letter. Not long, not poetic, just honest. In it, she thanked Emily for a kindness she hadn't acknowledged at the time. Support offered during a particularly hard season of Sarah's life. Emily might not have even remembered it, but Sarah did. And giving voice to that memory created a crack in the wall. One made not with pressure, but with presence. From there, things didn't become perfect, but they did become possible. Each small moment of appreciation, spoken aloud, written down, quietly felt, acted like water on long dry soil. Their conversations grew easier. Laughter returned. Not always, but enough to know the soil had changed. Gratitude had turned it from something hardened into something living. And perhaps that's what healing is. Not forgetting, not fixing, but simply returning to life. Her practice began to ripple beyond Emily. Sarah's relationship with Mark, her partner, also deepened. Gratitude gave her new eyes. Where before she had seen habits, now she noticed gestures. The morning cup of coffee, the hand on her back as she fell asleep, the quiet way he listened when she needed to ramble. Things she used to gloss over, now shone. And because she noticed more, she appreciated more. And because she appreciated more, so did he. Gratitude didn't just shift how she saw, it shifted how she showed up. In moments of conflict, she paused, remembered what she loved, not just what was wrong. And from that space, conversations unfolded differently. There was less defense, more curiosity, more care. Even arguments, once loud and sharp, softened into discussions. Not because there was less to disagree about, but because there was more respect present in the room, more humility, more grace. And that grace, it carried forward. She found herself thanking her colleagues, her friends, even strangers. The barista who remembered her name, the neighbor who held the elevator door, the bus driver who waited an extra second. These weren't grand moments, but then gratitude isn't greedy. It thrives in the ordinary. And when the ordinary is appreciated, life becomes extraordinary. Her entire energy began to change. People responded differently, smiled more, opened up, reflected back the warmth she extended. It wasn't magic, but it felt like it. The biggest shift, though, came not from what others gave her, but from what she gave herself. By extending gratitude to the world, she was also reinforcing a new identity, one who sees the good, one who values connection, one who trusts that kindness exists. Gratitude became her emotional posture, how she stood, how she moved, how she related. And in that stance, life stood up to meet her differently. Of course, the journey wasn't flawless. Old stories returned, wounds flared. There were days when gratitude felt far away, but those days didn't undo the progress. They simply reminded her, this is a practice, not a performance, not a destination, but a way of being. She kept returning, to the journal, to the quiet pause, to the small thank you, and each time she returned with a little more of herself intact. Over time, what once felt like effort became instinct, and what once felt strained became sacred. She discovered that gratitude isn't about ignoring pain, it's about inviting something else to share the room. Something luminous, something healing, something real. It is, in the end, a gift you give twice, once to others, and once to yourself. So if your relationships feel tangled, tense, or far away, perhaps start not with a conversation, but with a moment, a memory, a thank you, even a silent one. especially a silent one, because sometimes the heart hears what the ears do not. And in that quiet, something powerful begins again. Connection, compassion, and the kind of love that grows when it's noticed. Chapter 24, Achieving Goals Through Gratitude. Dr. Anya Sharma, equal parts neuroscientist, spiritual teacher, and master of unlocking human potential, often began her lectures with a deceptively simple statement. Gratitude is not a reward for achievement. It's the current that carries you toward it. Her students would nod politely, some skeptically. But by the end of the semester, most carried that truth like a key in their pocket. One story she told left a deeper mark than the rest. It was about David, a student of hers, a gifted musician with a haunting voice and a dream carved into his soul. To perform at Carnegie Hall. Not someday, not eventually, but soon. The only problem, his self-doubt had a stronger grip than his resolve. Though his talent was undeniable, his confidence evaporated under pressure. Each performance that mattered most turned into a minefield of nerves. He'd come close, but fear always stole the spotlight. Until one day, she offered him something that surprised him. A gratitude journal. Not a strategy. Not a performance hack. A journal. A practice. A daily ritual of appreciation, not for results, but for the process itself. For the setbacks, for the failures, for the people and moments most often overlooked. David resisted at first. Gratitude, he assumed, was for the spiritual or the sentimental, not for someone in the trenches of high-performance pressure. But something in Dr. Sharma's calm certainty moved him. So he began, slowly, clumsily. And in those first weeks, the entries were stiff. Had a good lesson today, he wrote, eyes rolling. Didn't mess up that arpeggio. But repetition has a rhythm, and rhythm is the mother of music and of change. Over time, the practice softened his inner world. He stopped measuring every moment against perfection and started noticing what was working. A clear run-through of a difficult piece. A smile from his accompanist. His own laughter, light and unexpected, during a rehearsal mistake. And without realizing it, David began writing a new internal score. As he deepened the practice, something remarkable happened. The tight fist of anxiety slowly began to unclench. He felt lighter, more centered, less like he was climbing towards something out of reach and more like he was walking a meaningful path. He stopped seeing practice as punishment and started cherishing it as play. He stopped fearing mistakes and started learning from them. In his journal, he wrote, "Missed the cadenza again, but found a new way into it. Grateful for that discovery." That shift, from judgment to curiosity, from fear to gratitude, wasn't just emotional, it was neurological. As Dr. Sharma explained, gratitude activates the brain's reward circuitry, rewiring the limbic system and enhancing prefrontal cortex engagement. In simple terms, he wasn't just thinking differently, he was becoming different. And gratitude wasn't just changing his performance, it was changing his relationships. He began thanking his mentors, not with vague pleasantries, but with specific heartfelt acknowledgements. He expressed appreciation to his parents for their quiet support, his friends for showing up, and even to his past self for persisting. That network of appreciation began reflecting back. Encouragement increased, support deepened. The energy around him grew magnetic. And within that energy, something subtle but powerful began to bloom. He started enjoying music again, not for accolades or recognition, but for itself, the purity of it, the privilege of it, the art of it. And in that joy, something essential returned. Freedom. Freedom to fail, freedom to soar, freedom to be. His audition prep transformed. Instead of obsessing over what could go wrong, he celebrated what was already right. Each session ended with reflection. Each setback became a teacher. Each breakthrough, a celebration. He wasn't waiting to be proud of himself at the end. He practiced pride in every note. And then, the email arrived, an invitation to audition at Carnegie Hall. He felt the old fear surface, but something new stood beside it, a deep reservoir of calm built over months of consistent gratitude. He didn't rehearse to prove anything, he rehearsed to experience something. And when he walked on stage that day, it wasn't as a man seeking approval, it was as a man honoring his journey. He performed not from tension, but from love. And when the final note rang out and the audience rose to their feet, he knew the dream had arrived. But more importantly, he had arrived. Not just on that stage, but in himself. The applause was sweet, but the journey, that was sacred. David's story is more than a motivational anecdote. It's a living example of what happens when we rewire our path to success through gratitude. His journal didn't make him a better player overnight. It made him a better partner in the process. And that shift made all the difference. Because when gratitude becomes your foundation, achievement becomes inevitable, not as a prize, but as a byproduct of alignment. Gratitude, when practiced with intention, becomes an internal GPS. It doesn't ignore obstacles, it helps you reframe them. Rehearsal becomes reverence, setbacks become sculptors, and even the mundane becomes meaningful. Dr. Sharma's principle is clear: goals pursued with gratitude aren't just more likely to be achieved, they are more likely to be enjoyed. The process becomes the point. And ironically, when you stop chasing the end result, it starts chasing you. Because a grateful heart is a magnetic one. Yes, you still work, you still stretch, you still sweat and struggle, but the energy behind it all shifts. Fear no longer leads the dance, appreciation does. And when appreciation leads, life moves differently. It opens, it flows, it meets you. So if you're chasing a dream, start there. Not with the pressure to make it happen, but with the practice of honoring what already is. Start with a journal, a single sentence, a breath of thanks for this step, this effort, this day. Let that be your new rhythm. Because in time, that rhythm becomes a song. And one day, when your moment comes, you'll be ready not because you pushed harder, but because you gave thanks more deeply. And in that gratitude, you didn't just reach your goal, you became the person who already had. Chapter 25. Boosting Physical Health with Gratitude. Following David's remarkable journey, we now shift our attention to a truth often felt before it's proven: the undeniable link between gratitude and physical health. While David's transformation revealed the emotional and mental dimensions of gratitude, the body, wise, responsive, and always listening, reflects those internal shifts as well. Gratitude is not simply a feeling or an attitude, it's a living energy that radiates through every cell of your being. And when the mind softens and the heart opens, the body often follows in quiet, powerful ways. Consider Sarah. A high-performing executive, her calendar was packed with deadlines, meetings, and demands. From the outside, she was thriving: promotions, accolades, the admiration of peers. But inside, something different was happening. Her nights became restless battlegrounds of racing thoughts. Her mornings felt like sprints she hadn't trained for. Her immune system weakened. Burnout wasn't knocking, it had moved in. The very engine that drove her success was now draining her vitality. Concerned, her doctor suggested a change, not of medication, but of perspective. That's when she found her way to the practice of gratitude. Hesitant but willing, she began with a simple exercise. Write down 3 things she was grateful for before bed each night. At first, it felt artificial. Her mind, conditioned to scan for problems, struggled to settle into appreciation. But quietly, beneath the surface, something began to shift. In time, the lists became richer. The warmth of my dog curled beside me, the kindness of a barista who remembered my name, a moment of silence between calls. These were moments she had once brushed past. Now they were her anchors. Her nervous system, once gripped by urgency, began to recalibrate. Her breath deepened. Her sleep returned. Not all at once, but reliably. And with better sleep came better mornings. Sharper focus, steadier energy, a sense of peace that replaced her former panic. Her body, it seemed, had been waiting for her to feel safe again. Illnesses became less frequent. Her energy didn't just return, it stabilized. The inflammation markers in her body began to reduce. Again, this wasn't a miracle cure, nor am I offering medical advice. But her story echoes countless research findings: that gratitude reduces stress hormones, boosts immune function, and positively alters heart rate variability. Sarah's journey confirmed what so many scientists and healers now agree on: what heals the heart, heals the body. And as her heart grew lighter, so did her symptoms. Her story is not unique. Michael, a retired teacher, had been living with chronic pain since a devastating car accident. Every day felt like navigating a battlefield of discomfort. Medications helped, but they dulled more than pain. They dulled his spirit. His world became smaller, his hope dimmer, until one day he chose to shift his focus, just slightly. Instead of starting his day dreading the pain, he began it by noticing what didn't hurt. He gave thanks for his wife's steady hand, his grandson's laughter, the warmth of the sun on his porch. He wrote these moments down, not to deny his pain, but to give equal airtime to his joy. Slowly, a new rhythm emerged. His attention turned from suffering to savoring. And though the pain didn't vanish, it lost its power to dominate his day. His sleep improved, his mood lifted, his sense of isolation eased. And while I am not a doctor and make no medical claims, what we can say is this: the act of shifting focus from what's wrong to what's right changes how we experience everything, including the body we live in. And every time he chose to notice the light, his body responded in kind. These stories illustrate what science continues to uncover: that gratitude isn't just emotional, it's physiological. Chronic stress and resentment can erode health, weaken immunity, and disrupt digestion. But gratitude, consistent, intentional, sincere, soothes the nervous system, balances hormones, and fosters a state in which the body can do what it was designed to do: heal. This is not about replacing medicine. It's about activating your body's innate intelligence by tuning into a different emotional frequency. Gratitude becomes a signal, one the body recognizes as safe. And when the body feels safe, healing pathways begin to open. The benefits extend far beyond sleep and immunity. Gratitude lowers blood pressure, reduces the risk of depression, enhances cardiovascular health, and supports better eating and movement habits. Why? Because when you feel better, you treat yourself better. When your attention moves from survival to appreciation, your habits shift. Your choices shift. Your biology begins to follow the signal of well-being. Gratitude does not deny hardship. It simply chooses not to make hardship the only narrative. And with each small moment acknowledged, the story of your body begins to change. This isn't about pretending life is always easy. It's about choosing to notice that, even in difficulty, there is still beauty. A bird outside your window, the taste of morning tea, the breath that still flows through you. Each one a signal, each one a message to your nervous system that says, "We are safe now. We can begin again." Consistency is key. Like any muscle, gratitude strengthens with use. Some days you'll feel it easily. Other days it will be a whisper barely audible beneath the noise. But even then, even when it feels faint, the practice works. It works because it invites presence. It works because it softens the edges. It works because it reconnects you with what is still good. And in that reconnection, you'll often find so much of your strength was still there, waiting. Sarah's energy, Michael's lightness. These weren't random. They were cultivated, grown, nurtured through the daily tending of a grateful heart. Not because gratitude was a shortcut to health, but because it made the journey worth taking. So take that journey. Write your list. Speak your thanks. Pause in appreciation for the body that carries you, the breath that steadies you, the sensations that anchor you. Let your body know it's being cared for, not just by medicine, but by mindset. Let gratitude become your daily nourishment. Because sometimes the vitality you seek isn't in a pill, a program, or a breakthrough. Sometimes it's in a thank you haven't said yet. Chapter 26. Maintaining a gratitude practice. Maintaining a consistent gratitude practice isn't a race to the finish. It's a quiet unfolding. Like the steady rhythm of breath, it requires presence, patience, and persistence. In the beginning, the spark may be strong. You feel the shift, the lightness, the uplift. But as days blend and responsibilities stack, that spark may flicker. That's not failure, it's the nature of change. Because the power of gratitude isn't measured by perfection. It's measured by your return. Think of it like a muscle. You wouldn't expect to master the weight of life's emotional loads on your first try. Gratitude builds in the same way. Through repetition, through gentle persistence. And when you miss a day, or a week, that's not the end. That's simply an invitation, a reminder that your practice is always waiting, not judging, just ready. And every return strengthens the connection. The easiest way to maintain this connection? Embed gratitude into the patterns you already follow. Like brushing your teeth or sipping your morning coffee, let gratitude be woven into what already exists. A breath of thanks before you rise, a pause of appreciation before you sleep, a single sentence written in a notebook during your lunch break. And in time, what begins as a pause becomes a path. Rituals deepen this path. They give it roots. A candle lit before your gratitude journal, a certain chair, a playlist of soft music, a walk you take with the intention to notice. Rituals add weight to meaning. They transform fleeting moments into sacred ones. And in times of emotional drift, they tether you back. Because sometimes what keeps you grounded is the shape of the habit itself. Not all gratitude looks the same. Some find clarity in journaling, words pouring out like a quiet release. Others reflect silently, savoring sensations and moments without writing them down. Still others speak their gratitude out loud or share it with someone they love. The method doesn't matter. What matters is that it feels real, that it fits you. Let go of the pressure to get it right. Gratitude isn't a performance, it's a practice of presence. True gratitude also allows space for complexity. It's not about denying pain or glossing over hardship. It's about making room for both, the grief and the gift, the heartache and the hope. When tough days come, and they will, gratitude says, even now there is still something to hold. And it's on those hard days, when the smallest thanks can soften the sharpest edge. Seek gratitude proactively, not reactively. Don't wait for the big wins. Look for the subtle ones. A smile from a stranger, a breeze through an open window, the comfort of clean sheets. When you train your attention to look for goodness, your brain rewires itself to find more of it. This isn't blind optimism, it's a reorientation of your internal compass. And once that compass points to appreciation, the whole map begins to change. Use prompts when needed. They're like lanterns on foggy days. What made me smile today? What surprised me in a good way? What did I handle better than I expected? Simple questions, honest answers. Often, what you write will surprise you, not because the moments were hidden, but because you finally paused to see them. And what we choose to see, we begin to live more fully. Extend your gratitude outward. Don't just keep it inside your journal or your mind. Speak it, share it. Write a quick note to someone, send a message, say thank you more often. Acknowledge the good in others and you amplify it in yourself. Relationships deepen, stress softens. The ripple of your gratitude expands outward, touching lives you may never fully know. And each ripple carries the echo of appreciation even further than you intended. Don't worry about feeling grateful all the time. That's not the point. Gratitude doesn't mean you're happy every moment. It means you're aware. Aware of the beauty that persists, even when skies are grey. Aware of the tiny graces that continue, even when the big ones feel far away. And the more aware you become, the more blessings reveal themselves. Technology can help too. Set reminders, use apps, keep a gratitude stone in your pocket, put a sticky note on your mirror. Surround yourself with cues that gently bring you back. These aren't gimmicks, they're bridges. Simple, subtle nudges that say, come home to yourself. Combat complacency by appreciating what's constant. The everyday blessings, the routines, the reliable. A partner's steady presence, the car that starts, the coffee that wakes you up, the roof that shelters. We often overlook what stays until it's gone. So don't wait. Appreciate it now. Make lists. Read them often. Let familiarity become sacred again. And in this consistent noticing, the ordinary becomes luminous. Eventually, a shift occurs. You begin to notice you're different. Less reactive, more resilient. You handle stress better. You connect more deeply. You feel more grounded. It's not always dramatic, but it's steady. Like the slow unfolding of morning light. A practice you once had to remember becomes second nature. You're not chasing gratitude anymore. You're living in it. That shift, though quiet, touches everything: your work, your health, your relationships, your self-talk. Gratitude becomes the lens through which you see. And because perception is everything, it changes what you experience. You feel more peace, more joy, and even in chaos, you find calm. And the transformation, it doesn't scream, it hums, constantly, beneath everything. Integrate gratitude into the practices you already love. Fold it into your yoga, into your walk, into your breathwork, into your prayer. When you blend it with what already soothes you, it roots deeper. It takes hold in your body, in your rhythm, in your rituals. Even when life feels unpredictable, gratitude becomes your steady. Of course, there will be days when gratitude feels out of reach. That's okay. Don't fight it. Don't fake it. Be honest. Acknowledge the pain, and then gently ask, is there anything here I can still be thankful for? Not to erase the pain, but to expand your field of view, to hold both grief and grace in the same breath. And in doing so, you discover that's where your strength truly lives. Ultimately, maintaining a gratitude practice is not about chasing bliss. It's about learning how to see, how to feel, how to live with eyes wide open. It's about cultivating a mind that recognizes beauty in the mundane, hope in the hardship, and wholeness in the messiness of life. Gratitude is not the destination, it is the way. And as you walk this way, step by step, you may look back and realize you haven't just been practicing gratitude, you've been practicing how to live fully all along. Chapter 27, Sharing Gratitude with Others. Gratitude, when kept within, can shift your heart, but when it's shared, when it leaves your lips or flows through your hands, it becomes something greater. It becomes a force, a ripple, a bridge between hearts. Sharing your gratitude isn't just good manners, it's an act of resonance. It harmonizes you with the world around you, and like all echoes, it always returns. Gratitude is energetic currency, an invisible exchange that brightens not only the day of the one who receives, but also the spirit of the one who gives. It creates warmth, it rewires perceptions, it strengthens bonds, sometimes without a single word being spoken. And when words are spoken, the impact multiplies, connection deepens, walls soften, and often all it takes is starting with a single sentence. Let's begin where love lives, in your closest circles, the people who walk beside you day in and day out. Have you told them what they mean to you? Really told them? It's easy to assume they know, but when appreciation is made visible, spoken aloud, it nourishes the relationship like sunlight on a neglected garden. It doesn't just feel good, it transforms. And it's not in the thank you where the magic lives. It's in the why behind it. A simple thanks for dinner becomes transformative when you say, thank you for cooking tonight. It made me feel cared for, and I noticed the little touches you added. Or, thank you for staying with me when I was overwhelmed. Your presence made all the difference. Specificity breeds sincerity. It tells the other person, I see you, I feel what you gave, and I'm better for it. Gratitude also unlocks memories, small ones, warm ones. That one time they held your hand when words failed. The look you exchanged that said everything. The laughter that rose in waves until it spilled into tears. Remember those, revisit them, then say it out loud, because sometimes reliving a beautiful moment together becomes the first step in rebuilding trust. This practice doesn't stop at home. Bring it into your workplace. When you thank a colleague for their effort, not just for the result, but for the spirit they brought to it, you remind them that their work matters. When you appreciate a mentor, you solidify the lineage of knowledge and support. A thank you for staying late, for sharing insights, for catching a mistake. These words uplift, they bond, they build culture. Gratitude, when shared professionally, makes people feel safe, seen, valued. Extend it beyond your inner circle. Think of the barista who gets your order right with a smile, the janitor who keeps the hallway clean, the bus driver, the grocery clerk. These people form the rhythm of your life, the background music you often overlook. But when you pause, look them in the eyes and say, thank you for what you do, you shift the energy of the entire day. And sometimes the smallest thank you plants the seed for a forest of kindness. This is the ripple effect. Gratitude spoken aloud becomes a vibration that travels farther than you can imagine. You never know who's listening, who needs to hear it, or who might be inspired to pass it forward. One act of appreciation may lead to another, and another, until the air itself feels lighter, until a culture changes. But none of this works unless it's real. Authenticity is the foundation. Speak from your heart, not from habit. A robotic thanks means little, but when your words come with presence, with intention, they become medicine, healing. So pause before you speak. Let your appreciation rise naturally, then give it voice. Because in the sincerity of your tone, people can feel the truth behind your words. Want to deepen your impact? Pair your words with action. A cup of coffee brought to a tired friend. A ride offered to a coworker. A handwritten note tucked into a lunchbox or slipped into a colleague's inbox. These small gestures speak volumes. They become living proof of your appreciation. And in a world of instant messages and emojis, a handwritten note is a small miracle. Notes last. People keep them in drawers, in books, on refrigerator doors. They're reread on hard days. They say, "You matter, you are loved, you are seen." In a world that moves too fast, they say, "I took time, just for you." You can also express gratitude publicly. Praise a teammate in front of others. Toast a friend's support at a gathering. Mention a neighbor's kindness in a community group. Tag someone online with words of appreciation. Public gratitude creates collective inspiration. It normalizes appreciation. It teaches others by example. It says, "This is what love looks like, in action." And when you receive gratitude, pause. Receive it. So many of us deflect it. "Oh, it was nothing. You'd have done the same." But when you deflect gratitude, you deny the other person the joy of giving it. Accept it. Let it in. Smile and say, "Thank you. That means a lot. This moment matters too." Because when you receive with grace, you close the circle of giving. Let gratitude become your language. Not just a feeling you hold, but a message you deliver. Let it show up in text messages, in surprise gifts, in forehead kisses, in spontaneous compliments, in the way you greet and in the way you say goodbye. Let it become the thread that runs through how you relate to the world, because the world doesn't just need your light, it needs your voice to carry it. Sharing gratitude isn't about grand gestures, it's about quiet revolutions. It's about replacing criticism with recognition, silence with acknowledgement. It's about seeing others through the lens of love and letting them know it. It's about weaving connection, one word at a time. And in the end, gratitude shared is gratitude multiplied. You feel it, they feel it. The space between you shifts, and little by little, the world becomes warmer, kinder, more beautiful. Because in giving thanks, you give something even greater. You give connection. You give meaning. You give love in its most essential form. Chapter 28. Gratitude and Forgiveness. Gratitude and forgiveness, two seemingly distinct forces. One celebrates the present, the other heals the past. But in truth, they are intimately intertwined. You cannot fully embody one without the other. Because while gratitude opens your eyes to beauty, forgiveness clears the lens through which that beauty is seen. When the heart is weighed down by resentment, it struggles to feel grateful. But when the burden is lifted, even slightly, appreciation rushes in. And sometimes, the space we long for in life is created by letting go. Biologically, emotionally, spiritually, the grip of unresolved pain is profound. Holding on to anger, shame, or blame triggers a cascade of stress hormones: cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine. The body braces, the mind tightens. This stress response, when prolonged, leaves little room for feelings like peace, appreciation, or joy. Gratitude requires openness, a relaxed nervous system, a softened heart. Forgiveness creates that opening. It invites the nervous system to settle, to unwind, to allow gratitude in. Forgiveness, however, is not approval. It is not agreement. It is not weakness. It is the powerful act of choosing your freedom over your pain. And that choice, it often begins with yourself. Self-forgiveness is where many people get stuck. We rehearse mistakes like old scripts, judge ourselves by impossible standards, and cling to guilt as if it were noble. But guilt is not a virtue. It is a signal. And once it has delivered its message, it must be released. Because long-held self-judgment quietly blocks our access to joy, connection, and yes, gratitude. So how do you begin? First, feel the hurt. Acknowledge it. Don't bypass it with false positivity. Write it down, speak it aloud, let it breathe. Then identify the thoughts that keep the pain alive. I should have known better. I don't deserve happiness. It was all my fault. And gently question them. Whose voice is that? Is it true? Then speak to yourself, not as a critic, but as a friend. What would you say to someone you love who had made the same mistake? Say it to yourself. In that kindness, a crack opens, and through that crack, gratitude starts to seep in. Next comes the forgiveness of others. And this too begins not with their actions, but with your freedom. Carrying resentment is like drinking poison and hoping the other person will suffer. It's like hauling a backpack full of stones, each one a moment you wish had gone differently. Forgiveness doesn't mean those moments were okay. It means you choose not to carry them anymore. Because you've decided your peace is worth more. Begin with awareness. Feel the hurt. Let yourself grieve what was lost: trust, safety, innocence. Then ask, how is holding on to this pain shaping my life? What would change if I laid it down? And if you can, explore the humanity in the other. What wounded them so deeply that they acted in this way? Understanding doesn't mean condoning, but it does create space, and in that space, peace begins to stir. Visualizations can help. Close your eyes and picture the person who hurt you. See the cord that connects you. Now imagine releasing it, cutting it, melting it, dissolving it. See yourself lighter, freer. Breathe that image in. Anchor it with a gesture, a hand on your heart, a whispered affirmation. I forgive to be free. Even if you're not ready to forgive entirely, begin the process. You don't have to feel ready to begin. You only have to begin to become ready. And once you begin, you're already healing. Now, something beautiful happens when you pair forgiveness with gratitude. Each makes the other easier. When you let go of pain, gratitude flows in. When you practice gratitude, the sting of past hurts softens. They become echoes, no longer dictating your present. You begin to see how even your scars have shaped your strength, how pain birthed compassion, how loss taught you to love more deeply. And when that shift happens, life begins to feel different. You begin to recognize blessings that were always there, but hidden behind resentment's veil, like the way your body breathes without asking, the way the sun touches your skin, the way people still smile at you even when you feel unworthy. This is the alchemy of forgiveness and gratitude. Together, they transmute suffering into strength. Remember, this is a journey, not a switch you flip. There will be setbacks. Old wounds reopen, old stories return. Let them. And then return again and again to your choice, to release, to heal, to feel thankful for what remains. Celebrate your courage, your growth, your willingness to do the hard and holy work of forgiving. Because every act of forgiveness is an act of gratitude in disguise. Gratitude that you survived, that you're evolving, that you get to choose how your story continues. And the more often you choose forgiveness, the more natural gratitude becomes. Until eventually your nervous system no longer braces for pain, but opens instinctively to beauty. Forgiveness clears the soil, gratitude plants the seed, and what grows might just astonish you. Because long after the wounds have closed, gratitude remains. As proof that the light was never truly gone, it was simply waiting for you to turn toward it. Chapter 29. Building a Gratitude Community. Gratitude may begin as an inward journey, but it blooms fully in the presence of others. While individual practice can transform your perspective, the power of shared gratitude magnifies that transformation exponentially. A gratitude community isn't just a group of like-minded people, it's a living, breathing network of hearts learning to open together. Imagine gathering regularly with others who are committed to seeing the beauty in life, even during life's hardest moments. Imagine the strength that rises not from fixing each other, but from simply being seen. And often in that shared space, healing begins long before you realize it. At its core, a gratitude community is a safe haven, a space where vulnerability is met not with judgment, but with understanding, where each person, in their own way, mirrors back to you a reminder of the light you carry. When you're lost in self-doubt or overwhelmed by life's noise, these reflections bring you back to center. They remind you of what's working, of what you still have. And sometimes that reminder is all you need to begin again. Because sometimes just holding space for another helps you find your own. Whether it's friends around a dinner table, colleagues sharing reflections after work, or strangers gathered online, what matters most is the shared intention. To remember the good, to name it, to amplify it together. This collective focus creates what can only be called a field, a shared resonance that uplifts everyone involved. You begin to celebrate not only your own victories, but theirs. Their gratitude becomes yours. Their hope strengthens yours. And your gratitude becomes contagious. Finding or building this kind of community might feel daunting at first, but it doesn't have to be. Start small. Look into local meetups, meditation centers, yoga studios, or spiritual groups. You might even start your own gratitude circle, inviting friends or family to join you weekly to share 3 things they're grateful for. Online spaces offer limitless possibilities, from apps and forums to social media groups and virtual circles that span the globe. The format doesn't matter, the feeling does. Choose a space that feels nourishing, one where you can show up fully, joyful, weary, or somewhere in between, and still be welcomed. Test the waters, linger. Notice how you feel during and after. Do you leave lighter, brighter, seen? That's your sign. Once you find your space, commit. Show up with honesty. Share your triumphs, but also your messiness. Gratitude doesn't need polish, it needs truth. Speak from the heart, listen with compassion. And when others open up, resist the urge to fix. Just witness, honor, celebrate. You'll be surprised how healing it is to simply be with someone as they remember what's good in their life. And you may find that holding space for them also holds you. Introduce simple shared rituals, a gratitude jar, a closing circle where everyone names one thing they appreciated that day, a group text that encourages mid-week check-ins. These aren't grand gestures, they're small anchors. But over time, they build trust, belonging, meaning. And from that, something deeper takes root. Beyond personal reflection, a gratitude community becomes a springboard for inspired action. You'll hear stories that challenge your assumptions. You'll learn techniques that deepen your own practice. You'll receive book recommendations, guided meditations, or breathwork practices that you might never have discovered alone. Each member becomes a teacher, and every gathering becomes a lesson in the infinite ways gratitude can be lived. And those lessons often arrive right when you need them most. As your group evolves, you may start to notice a shift in how you see the world. Small moments take on new meaning. Someone holds the door for you, and you don't just notice it, you feel it, you carry it, and you pass it forward. That's the ripple. That's how gratitude spreads, quietly, powerfully, through the choices we make each day. Gratitude in community becomes a force. It makes you more resilient, more compassionate. And when life gets heavy, and it will, you'll have a circle that helps you carry what you cannot carry alone. Not by solving it, but by reminding you that you're not alone. That you are still worthy of beauty, even here. Especially here. And when you forget that, they'll remember for you. Let your community inspire you. Let their words become your mantras, their strength, your reflection. And when you have the chance, return the favor. Lift someone else. Remind them of their light. That's how this grows. That's how the movement spreads. Because a gratitude community isn't just a circle, it's a current. And when you're in that current, you don't have to paddle so hard. The benefits expand outward. Family dynamics begin to shift. Workplace energy softens. Strangers seem kinder. It's not magic, it's resonance. When a group commits to gratitude, they begin to shape the spaces around them. A team that practices appreciation performs better. A family that names their gratitude becomes more cohesive. A community that centers on thanks heals. This is how we change the world. One shared breath, one spoken appreciation, one room full of people willing to remember what still matters. Gratitude alone can heal your life. Gratitude together can heal the world. So whether it's a single friend you text each night, a group you meet weekly, or a global network that spans time zones, create it, join it, nurture it. Your gratitude practice will deepen, your life will soften, and your spirit will remember what it's always known. That connection is medicine, and gratitude is how we share it. Because in the end, the greatest things in life were never meant to be felt alone. Chapter 30. The Ongoing Journey of Gratitude. The journey of gratitude is not a race to be won, nor a destination to be reached. It is a winding, ever-deepening path, a sacred unfolding that invites you to return again and again to the present moment. Some days, this moment arrives radiant with ease. On others, it's wrapped in fog, asking more of you. That's the nature of a true journey. It changes with you, reflects you, and sometimes even carries you when you've forgotten how to walk. And even then, even when you falter, gratitude quietly walks beside you. It helps to think of gratitude as a practice, not a feeling you must chase, but a way of meeting life with open arms. Like a muscle, it strengthens with use. On your brightest days, you may feel it effortlessly. The warmth of a sunrise, the kindness of a friend, the deep exhale of a life momentarily at peace. On harder days, it may feel distant or dull. That's okay. Gratitude doesn't demand perfection. It asks only that you try, that you stay curious, that you keep looking for the light, even if all you can find is a flicker. Because sometimes it's the flicker that leads you home. This journey isn't linear. It spirals. It returns you to familiar lessons at deeper levels of understanding. What once felt simple, a thank you, a smile, becomes profound. What once felt heavy, resentment, loss, begins to soften. Gratitude reveals the sacred in the mundane, the wisdom in the wound, the strength in the stumble. It reminds you that presence, not perfection, is the true prize. And that presence, once felt, begins to color everything. Let your practice evolve with you. Perhaps you began with journaling and now find yourself drawn to meditation. Perhaps your gratitude once lived in words, but now it dances through acts of service, through quiet generosity, through the sacred pause before each meal. There is no one right way to practice. The right way is the one that brings you closer to yourself, to your breath, to what matters most. Let your practice be living. Let it breathe with you. At times, you may feel called to focus on specific areas of life: your health, your relationships, your work, your spirit. Go there. Ask the questions that stir something true in you. Where have I grown? Who supported me when I couldn't support myself? What blessings have I overlooked because they came wrapped in challenge? These questions aren't always easy, but they are always rich. They're gateways to the kind of gratitude that doesn't dissolve in hardship, but deepens through it. And the deeper it goes, the more anchored you become. As you continue, you may notice subtle shifts: a softer inner dialogue, a slower reaction to stress, a growing capacity to hold both pain and beauty without collapsing. This is emotional resilience. This is the nervous system learning to settle. This is your brain rewiring toward peace. Gratitude isn't a bypass, it's a bridge. It helps you hold grief and joy in the same palm. It helps you find steadiness in a world that doesn't always feel safe. It's not about pretending life is perfect. It's about remembering that even in the mess, there is meaning. And that meaning, once uncovered, makes everything more whole. Science supports what the heart already knows. Gratitude changes the body. It regulates cortisol, supports immune function, improves sleep, strengthens relationships, and even extends lifespan. But beyond the studies, beyond the data, lies a quieter truth. Gratitude brings you home. Home to your heart, home to the moment, home to the richness of being alive. That richness isn't found in things, it's found in attention, in awareness, in awe. Gratitude is the thread that weaves the extraordinary through the ordinary. It's what turns a cup of tea into a ceremony, a conversation into communion, a walk into wonder. When you live this way, every moment becomes sacred. Every breath becomes enough. You stop chasing more and start savoring now, and the more you savor, the more there is to savor. Pause and ask yourself, how has gratitude shifted your relationships, your creativity, your health? Has it softened your edges, opened your heart, helped you listen more deeply? These reflections are not checkpoints, they are mirrors. They show you how far you've come, how much you've healed, how deeply you've allowed yourself to receive the gift of this life. And the more you reflect, the more you see. This gift keeps giving. As your practice deepens, you may begin to feel more connected to something larger than yourself. Some call it source, others spirit. Still others, simply life. Whatever name you give it, the feeling is unmistakable, a sense of belonging, of being held by something infinite. Gratitude opens this door. It turns you from seeker to receiver. It roots you in a truth far older than words, that you are part of something vast and profoundly benevolent. And in that belonging, you remember who you really are. Let your gratitude become part of your legacy. Teach it, share it. Weave it into how you lead, how you parent, how you love. Let others feel it not through your words, but through your presence. Gratitude is not just something you say, it's something you embody. And when embodied, it radiates. It uplifts. It heals. You may never know the full reach of your gratitude, but rest assured, it reaches. As you continue this lifelong practice, celebrate the small wins. Welcome the detours, honor the days you forget, and bless the days you remember. Gratitude is not a finish line, it's a compass, a guide, a quiet invitation to live more fully, more richly, more awake. Let it guide you, let it change you, let it become you. Because in the end, gratitude isn't just a practice, it's a way of being, a way of seeing, a way of remembering the beauty that has always been here, waiting patiently for you to see it. And now that you do, the journey continues.